Good evening. Evening, everyone. It is 6:30. We're going to go ahead and start our committee of the whole meeting for ANC 5B. Could everyone please unmute themselves so we can find out who's on the line? Commissioner Carley? Commissioner Carley? Commissioner Higgins is here. Commissioner Becerra?
Present.
Commissioner Amen?
Present.
Fellow?
Here.
Okay, and we have, I see John Feely. Hi, Commissioner Feely, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Okay, so it looks like we have a quorum. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Commissioner Amin, you have the floor for the Treasury Report.
Yes, good evening, commissioners. Treasury Report, let's start with the available balance here. We have available balance at this time of $4,708.10. That's $4,708.10 as of today. And we have not met our responsibilities. We have not paid any invoices for the month of June. So we should probably discuss that this evening. As far as the Treasury report concerned, do we want to talk about the fiscal year 21 budget right here underneath Treasury Report? Or do we want to loop back to that?
I guess we can start with our the budget and then the Q4 report, in which it was requested that we table.
Should we should we tackle what Mr. Feely is here to discuss first, so he doesn't have to sit through the full committee business?
We could, but Commissioner Carley is not on the line yet. So as you all know, that you may not know, but for the committee of the whole meeting, anybody can attend, they just cannot speak in terms of ANC business, but they are here as presenters, but not participants in the business.
Oh, good to know. Okay, I had a couple of constituents reach out to ask if they could join, and okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, so, but I'm sure you guys will verify that. But Commissioner Feely is here as a presenter this evening for the ANC 5B meeting, as requested by the commissioners previously. Prior to any information going out from the committees, we wanted to know ahead of time what information will be shared. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
I think Gail needs to mute. Gail, can you mute?
I don't know who that is, but anyhow, so
we need to do a roll call only because I see there's more of us on that should be in
somebody
theory.
else is joined. Commissioner Carley, are you on the line now? So I see two co-hosts and a host. So
yes, ma'am. I am on, and when
okay,
it comes
good.
up host, I did not hit OK and hoping that would change things, but I guess it didn't.
Okay, no problem. So Commissioner Carley is present on the line. Commissioner, I mean, you can proceed, sir. You have to unmute yourself, Commissioner, I mean.
Yeah, now there we go, commissioners. Okay, so on our last discussion, my last email out to commissioners, that was a proposed budget meant for us to think about our fiscal year 21 budget. And so I am open to hear your comments, your suggestions about our questions about our fiscal 21, the proposed fiscal 21 budget.
Can you please share the budget on the screen, Commissioner?
Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, if I can go, I think I have do I have ability to share, Commissioner?
Yes, it should be right where your video is. It should say mute.
Yeah,
Video.
I see it. I didn't know whether I needed special permission.
No, just let me take this down.
Okay, let's see. All right.
Or if you want to send it to me, we can.
Yeah, and it's the same budget that I sent everybody else out. So if I have let's see what we have here.
My stuff is still on the screen.
Oh, you can't see my screen?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, let me see.
Or if you want to send it to me, I can share it for you.
Okay, let me see something here. So so you guys are not seeing my screen open today? Okay. Okay, wait a minute, it's opening now. A little slow here. Can everyone see this? It's opening. Are you seeing my screen at all?
No, sir.
Okay, that might be a problem. It hasn't opened yet, so let's see something. Yeah. So it's searching my Google Docs. I have it in my Google Docs. Oh, come on. And no one sees this, right?
No, we're still seeing the agenda. Let me see.
All right, let's see something.
Can you send it to me and I can share for you?
Yeah, let me do that. Okay. Do we want to move forward with another conversation while I go ahead and do that?
Sure, you can.
Okay, let me see. Okay. Yeah. So go back to this. All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, let's see. Move to name. Okay, share. Okay.
Let me
All
see.
right. Let me see. I'm going to.
I'm gonna come out and come back in and see if you can.
Okay, Ursula, I just I'm gonna send it to you. Share to non-Google. You are sending an invitation. Probably says there's no Google account associated with email address. Anyone hold on. Okay, great. Okay, all right. Okay. See. So I send it to Ursula. Maybe she will get it. So Prita, do you still have the so it's the same budget that you pulled up the other day. By any chance, you still have that in your email? Just in case?
I think so.
No.
It'll take me a few minutes to find it, but
Okay, let's see if Ursula gets it. If not, let's try that. It's the email I sent you on last Wednesday that said budget. I think it would have said FY21 budget. Is Ursula gone?
I don't know if Ursula's gone or not, but we can see the budget on the screen. Someone's sharing it.
Oh, you can see it now?
Yes, I don't know whose screen.
I'm sharing my screen now.
Okay, good, Ursula. So you put it up. So you got it? Okay.
Yes, it's on the screen.
Okay, great. Okay, great, wonderful. Okay. All right. Can we by any way? Oh, we can make that. I can make that a little larger for me. All right. So where do we want to start? So we know that our allotment. If we go to the first column, and that's really the most important thing for us. We have to make these numbers work. And so we know that our district allotment is $13,144. That's where we start, right? And you see
Yep.
at the top, you see the minus 450 balance forward. That would be if you had a chance to refamiliarize yourself with the Q4 that we were discussing. You notice the Q4 ended. This was our ending balance on the Q4. So we're starting right here. And so this is the allotment that we should receive for the year once all of our quarterlies are turned in. That's why we have to get it in. You minus that puts that right here, that funds available. And so here's the numbers. This is what I plugged in to get us started. And keep in mind that these, we can always pull from categories later, as you know, to make things work, but we can't go over the budget that we submit. So I hope that's clear to everyone. So direct office cost, we have, if you go to that number 2, that direct office cost, that's what $7,200. And basically we pay what 6,000 our annual rent is $6,600 a year. One of the things that OANC needs us to do, and that we're going to gradually start doing, is that our printer costs needs to be changed to categories. We normally, in the past, it has been in category 3, underneath not category 3, category 4 underneath office supplies, and actually that's been confusing to OANC, and they instructed me that that is actually a category 2 item for our printer. So that's something that we will in the future start changing the categories, because the categories where we use the categories are going to be very important. How we categorize our expenditures is very important, because that's how the numbers are pulled over into the quarters to make sense. And that's all generated by the software. I don't do that. If I get the numbers in correctly and get the categories done correct, the software is designed to pull the numbers, and then it lets us know if we're in compliance or if we're not in compliance between the OAC and the auditor. So let's start with direct office cost. Any questions or concerns about that figure?
Yeah, so can you, I'm confused. So first question, the 7,200, does this roll in the printer cost and the office, or is this just, the math kind of doesn't work for either?
It doesn't. You're absolutely right. It doesn't work for either. But remember, we're halfway through the year right now, and so, and in the past, we've been pulling that number from we've been pulling that CIT cost from our office. In like Henry had us pulling that number from the office supply cost. So eventually. So if you put that, if we did it like, and hopefully in 2022, we could do a little bit different. That number, Prita, would read $9,456 if we use the averages and put all the money into direct office costs. But remember, we're halfway through the year, and we have to get a budget in that works, that doesn't make us go over. So this is why we have that 7,200 number here.
Okay, maybe let me try asking in a different way, just because I'm confused. The numbers kind of change, and then it looks like, well, let's start with, are we not having an office in Q4?
Oh, well, we will have an office in Q4, but we haven't like gotten any money for that yet. So remember, we're once we get in Q3, Q4, Q1, and Q2, remember other allotments are going to keep coming in.
Correct, but this is supposed to be how we'd spend, assuming we got all of our allotments, right? This isn't just spending down what we have right now, which would be negative 450. This is spending down what we can expect for the calendar year. And so I guess my question is, in addition to, are we going to allocate any money for Q4 for the office? But can you get into, since Q1, Q2, and Q3 are all different amounts, can you like break down what does that 1650 include? What is the 11 include?
Yeah, and the other part is, like, if you read the notes at the bottom, like, if you see our notes at the bottom, and this part of the software that I'm not really sure about, because once the worksheet was corrected on this, so you see it says like the budget, these amounts should be subtracted from the current budget figure. The FY20 budget includes $2,710, blah, 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 expenses from previous quarters. So looking at these quarter numbers isn't exactly a direct correspondence to what we're doing. And this is why, like, I was hoping that Gottlieb was going to be on our call last week, because he can explain better how the software works. My job as treasurer is to make these numbers work and get the right categories, and if the worksheet works, it will pull the numbers into the right place. So we will get a Q4 allotment, bottom line.
So I wonder if the easier way then, I understand, and thank you for all the work you've been doing on this. I know that this is no small feat. I wonder if an easier way then to answer this is, I understand you have to populate everything into the system and then it puts it in the categories. Do you have what went into populating it, i.e. what you had to add into the system for it to divide, to end up with?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, so it would be, if you think about direct office costs, that's let's say $6,600, right? That's how much rent would be with no late charges, right? You think about let me see, if you think about CIT, which is the printer contract, if we stay within contract, that would be $2,856. So I just looked at I averaged out like phone bill. I took our average phone bill, and at 250, I averaged it out. We average about $250 a month, and so because sometimes it's $230, sometimes it's $260, and that makes us spend about $3,000 on the phone bill, and then that extra, so I had that $3,250 there. First, I had $4,000 there, but that took us over. It didn't work. So then we're talking to OANC. It was the $3,250 would work for us like that. So that's how those numbers. My screen is going. That's how those numbers were pretty much calculated. The $600. That's we most likely probably would not spend $600 in office supplies that way, because that number, and that allows us to pull from there if we ever have to, if ever need it. But having that $600 there also allows us, say we decide to buy a new computer or something like that. But like from what I can see, we don't need paper clips and clipboards and all of that stuff. But if we did need it, the money is there. And OANC likes to see that you have money in for your office supplies. Now, the bank charges and the other, which is the security fund, we should not mess with that. We have to have those numbers there. Those are pretty standard, comfortable numbers for what we work with. Any bank charges we occur in the year. And that, and as you know, Prita, we've already paid out, at one point that $25 for the security fund that we have to pay. So yeah, so those bank charges, and we don't there. But the other numbers are the numbers that we can like work with.
Commissioner, I mean,
Yes, Gail.
my question is, because I'm looking at the numbers as well. So when you came up with this, when you, and looking at that, is it possible, because I'm looking at the Q3, and see, I would just assume if you going to do these by quarters, then it would be more so by the 3 months that it includes. Does that, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So basically, if we're dealing with January, February, and March, and if we look at last year and see how much we spend, then we could possibly put that in there for communications for Q1, because again, this is projected, okay? So having said that, can we look at Q4 and look at the months that it basically entails, and then take that amount and put it in there so that we can, because right now it is projected, but we have just zeros in the Q4.
Right.
I mean, I'm just trying to help because I know I used to do this, so
Right,
that's why
Gail.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, Gail, great. Yeah, part of the challenge has been is that our worksheet had been so inaccurate, and that's what that Q3 vote that we are not vote that Q3 revision that we had, that I had been working on, which took up all of our time in the beginning, trying to straighten out Q3. I was in treasurer. Q4 I was in treasurer. Q1 I was in treasurer. So
Right.
part of it is getting all of that stuff, getting it into place. Once I get that into place, then everything, and we get those quarterlies in, everything should start to work out.
So this, what we're looking at right now, is this a spreadsheet, or is this the system that you're using to input numbers?
This is the OANC budget sheet that comes out of the workbook that we use, that I put the numbers in.
Okay, so you can plug those numbers. So
I can plug those numbers, so we can, after we have discussion, I can change these numbers. This has not been submitted. This is what I did, and I talked to Ursula about it, and trying to figure out getting numbers that will work for us, because like the discussion, like, well, we're not giving out $2,500 worth of grants anymore. Well, we can't, because it would mess us up. Now,
well, is it because they have not figured out how to incorporate it into that new system, or because there's a possibility, because again, nothing has changed other than the fact that we have not received our allotments. So I don't see that actually changing, other than on paper.
Right. Yeah. That, I really appreciate that. And my theory is this: let's try to get our allotments, because what we can do is, after we get our allotments into place, we're, as Prita said in her, I think she was on Twitter or something, and like you said, it's almost time for 2022. If we get our next allotments into place, we can we can decide whether or not, I mean, that's something that we can vote on, like all of this. But
go ahead.
Can I jump in 1 second?
Yes.
I do want to say this, that one of the takeaways I got, and that's why you see the highlighted green and the highlighted red, is because some of the information that was input, it was inputted in the categories incorrectly. Some of these checks have already been paid, or these amounts, like where you see other, or where you see office supplies. And so because it wasn't categorized correctly, and it had to be put in a proper category right now, it reflects in the numbers that we have today. So even though they've been paid, it bumps up our budget as if we don't have any money left. That's why you see the difference in the balance, where it says $4,708. So my understanding from what Don said is that we have to keep it this way. It'll balance itself out once all of the information is received by the Office of ANC, and then the allotments come in. But some of these dollars that have been put in the system have been recategorized, and it's showing up as if these are new charges or what have you.
And I understand that what you're saying, and yeah, thank you. But again, is this not a projected budget based on us receiving an allotment each quarter? So therefore, these should be projected numbers and not real numbers.
That is correct. And when we submit the budget, just like you said, it is projected. And also, as Ms. Dawn had stated, even though we have these numbers in the categories, as long as we don't go over, say for instance, if we need to move something to a different category or add it, that's why he's not splitting it up now, because based on the way it was put in the system. So once this is cleared out, say for instance, our cell phone goes down to $100 a month. We can take these dollars and switch them around to another category, right, because they've already been accounted for. So yes, it's just projected, and that's what we're voting on, a projected budget. But that's why we needed to have the conversation. So if something does need to be changed or updated or edited, this is the time to do it prior to Commissioner Amin sending the information in.
Commissioner, to be clear, when we're talking about it being a projected budget, it's projected for Q4, but we've already finished Q1 and Q2. So that should be actuals, not projected at all. Right?
That's correct. And that's what I was saying about the green and about the red. It won't drop off until.
But this is the budget. This is not the QA.
No, this is just the projected budget based on what was carried forward according to the spreadsheet. And so
but
sorry, just to be clear, and we don't have the numbers. That's correct.
So everything in the Q1 and Q2 column, like we've actually spent $1,650 on direct office costs. We've actually spent $379 in Q1 on communication. Okay, so we have spent $1,000 in Q1 on grants. Like all of that is money that's already spent.
Yes, Q1 from, I guess that was, Q1 would have been October 1st through December of 2019. Is that correct?
20.
So then that means for Q3 and 4, we're only putting aside, we've got 1,800 in direct office and then $790 in communications and nothing else. Well, looks like a couple of $50 other charges. So basically we have nothing for Q4.
Okay, so if we drop in Q4, say for instance, we drop in Q4, what, how do you think that will reflect in the approved? See, the approved is FY21. The Q1 through Q4 is previous. So if you drop, Rod, do you want to kind of drop some numbers in so they can see if you put in the Q4 numbers? But we haven't voted on the Q4 for us to even drop that in. So
I don't think I can drop in on the screen. I would have to go to my shared screen in order to drop those numbers in.
So did we go what we projected report? What we projected or what was projected? Are you saying that the Q1 report reflects that we went over the projected?
It shows that we had a negative 450. Yes. For Q1.
Wait, that's where we started, right? Yeah.
Right, because Q4 is what? Q4 was July through September 30th.
Right. And if you look at your Q4 report, right, you will see that last balance there was that negative of 450.
Which appears to be rent. Wasn't we paying that much for rent?
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know whether it correlates like that, Gail. It's just like we had, okay, yes, I know. We hadn't gotten, remember that was the end of September and we hadn't gotten the allotments yet.
Okay.
And then remember we got those triple allotments in October.
Although we got them at one time, they still represent each quarter.
Yes,
Okay.
because each is 3285, and you can see if you look at that total receipts, that should reflect that triple allotment.
So just to clarify, we got a triple allotment in October for FY20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. And remember, I wasn't treasurer. So honestly, when I went in and started doing this, I was very confused. And I was like, oh, hey, OANC, what is this? Where's the money? When do we get the money? So each week I went in as I was doing the work, I had these questions. And so they're explaining to me as well about how the money comes and all of that stuff as well. Yeah. And also how the worksheet will, if I get my part right, how the worksheet will take care of itself, and also how it's their job and the auditor's job to make sure that we are in compliance.
So, actually, I'm just curious. So 2 questions. So the Q1 allotments on the budget worksheet, are those for the last 2 quarters of FY20 and the first quarter of 21? Or have we not gotten anything for FY21 yet?
We have not done anything for FY21. All of this was prior to you guys coming on board.
Okay, so got it. The other question I had is the 2084. I don't know if I missed this, but what was that for? It's in the green under Q3.
When Dawn was going back looking at the reports, you guys should have received the Q3 report. We didn't have to vote on that, dear, because it was already on. So that's not anything for you guys to vote on. That was prior to you becoming commissioners. But I can pull, if you give me a second, I might not be talking fast enough for you, but if you'll give me a second, then I will pull that Q3 if you're interested and send it to you so you'll have it.
Yeah, I have the Q3 report, but I'm just wondering what the credit was from. Was it an allotment or did we get a refund on something?
You should look at it. I can't just speak to it from out of the top of my head. I have to go to it and look at it. If you get
it. And I don't know that other Colleen. I think that's when they looked at the workbook. Yeah. And that was not something that I did or something that that was all of a sudden when they started looking at our workbook, they start catching all of this stuff. And that's why initially they said, hey, wait a minute, let us fix your workbook, because OANC also said that, hey, some of this stuff was on them.
Okay, let me just clarify, because I think what we're looking at right now is the Q3 QFR for FY20. I was asking about the Q3 budget line for FY21. It's correct. The amount of $2,084. I don't think that would be for FY20 on that sheet. I think this is something different. So I'm just trying to figure out what it is in the budget worksheet that we're supposed to be looking at in the green line.
Right, because that would suggest we got something between April and now in that $2,000 amount.
Year. Yeah.
I tell you what we can do is, like I said, after I put the numbers in, I don't put the green in. I don't put the red in. The system does that. Let me follow up on that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's a projected budget, can you not plug the numbers yourself as opposed to? I mean, I understand the carry forward numbers, which
Yeah.
would reflect how we did the previous year. But what about plugging the numbers to represent, you know? I mean, I would look at what again, like January, February, and March bill, and put that in for Q1 and so forth. You understand?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with Commissioner Carly, which is rare for us to agree, Commissioner. But
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
I hear what you're saying. I think the quarters that we've already, or the months we've already spent down, if we can make those actuals, and then that way we can, to Commissioner Carly's point, like we know rent is $550 a month. So really in the direct office, unless we're moving the printer, but even that's a fixed cost, like we should be able to have numbers in each column that reflect at least very close to what we can expect it to be paid. That all of our bills, for the most part, are reoccurring. So even the phone bill doesn't change all that much within, less than $50. So hopefully we can go
So
back.
what quarter are you? What fiscal? What 21-year quarter are you referring to there?
All of
So
them.
I'm referring to all of them. Yeah, it looks like we're both referring to all of them. So I guess my question in asking for the actuals, and I can't see the budget anymore. I think now we're looking at a black screen, or at least I am. I guess my question is, like, I think it was $1,600 in that.
1650.
Okay, so but that doesn't come out to that doesn't come out to 3 months of rent.
Mm-hmm.
What? What's it? 550 times 3 is what?
Well, no, that first column, whatever. Sorry, let me see if I can find the budget on my side.
Yeah, let me see. Is
Yeah,
it?
so you can get some basically more real numbers if you just look at what we already spent, and then you can go ahead and project Q4.
Okay, let's see.
Q3 and Q4.
550 times.
And then that way we won't be
Yeah, if you think about it, Prita, if that's 3 months is 3 months in that quarter, right? That should be correct.
Sorry. Okay, then Q2, did we only pay 2 months of rent?
Yeah. So that would probably be 2 months rent, right? And so what could have happened is, remember, if we did not say, if a check was, if we paid like twice, not twice, that's what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, say if we would have paid double rent, you know, it would show up in a different quarter. So say, like, if we would have paid so let's go 3 months, and say the next month would have started a new quarter, and that check was written and cleared in that quarter. That's where the system would calculate it. It wouldn't calculate it for the quarter that the rent that we paid.
But it should, because if we're going to pay January, February, and March, no matter when we pay it, it's still for January, February, and March.
Well,
Correct.
Yeah, you know what? But what happens is that when you look at it, when you do the worksheet is a little bit different than doing it in actual time. In certain ways, it has to be done on a worksheet. Gail, when you were treasurer, you guys weren't using this system, I don't think. This is new.
I was using a system. However, I mean, it doesn't vary much. It's just a matter of who created it. But my point I'm trying to get across, even if you were to write a check for 3 months, let's say 6 months rent, and you got to annotate on the check that it's January, February, and March, and then on the second check, April, May, and June.
Right.
And even if you give it to them all at one time, you still pay withdrawing or extracting that money from that quarter.
Yeah, the expenses, I think what Commissioner Carly is saying, absolutely right, is like the expenses are incurred in that quarter. They are for that quarter.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I am not sure about that. So let me check on that, because the way that that I'm looking at it, when I put the numbers in, it doesn't look like that's happening. But let me check on that, okay?
But, okay, that's great. However, with this particular budget projected, you can plug the numbers in. This is not going to affect your system.
Right.
Okay, so let's do this. So where do you folks, where do you want to change these numbers? Because I don't do the numbers over underneath
Right.
the quarters. The system does that.
Right, but you can plug them into this particular spreadsheet because that's all this is.
Right.
So
I can go into my OneDrive and
Yep.
put these numbers in, and it should calculate. So where do you want to change? What numbers do you want to change? I mean, because
so the rent should reflect what we paid for 3 months in each quarter.
Right. So each quarter should have 1650 or whatever the number is, rather than some have 1100, some have 1650, some have 0.
Yeah, I think don't focus on when the check was written, but just focus on what quarter it represents when you pay it.
Right. The budget is almost like this is what we are expecting to pay, and then if the quarters are done, it's what we have paid that is allotted to that quarter. But the quarterly report is where we're going to have, okay, the check was actually cashed on X day and falls into X quarter. But for this
all right,
purpose,
so I take your attention back down to this note here.
Well, I don't have the
can't see
budget
it.
in front of me anymore.
Yeah, you have the
same.
agenda up.
Okay.
Give me a second. And I'll bring that back up for you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it would be easier if you did it that way, Ron. And then even when you have to go into the system, I think it'll be a little bit, transparent as far as carrying over it into your system.
All right. Well, this is the way that the OANC trained me. Now I will go back to them.
No,
We don't have to vote on this now, but I can have this. We can meet again on this if you want before we meet.
That's not going to change what you're doing here. It's not going to change what they're training you to do when you plug numbers into the system. That's not going to change. However, if they were to ask for a projected budget so that they can help you put in numbers into the system, this would look a lot better.
So what you saying? So you want us? So like, if we go to direct office costs, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want that 660 there, correct?
Well, I can't see it right now.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is, whatever we
No,
pay.
I'm sorry, it's not up. It's up
No,
on my
ma'am.
screen.
No, ma'am.
I think I'm looking at my own screen. That's what it is. Because I remember I had pulled it up and then I had shared it with you, so that's why I can still see it.
Oh,
Yeah. So even when you plug in numbers and checks into the system, that all you have to do is balance. That's the only thing they're trying to do is balance it out, and that's it. But this projected budget, this is something you're saying, okay, this is what we're going to pay in each quarter. This is how much we paid, because we already have January, February, and March, April, May, and now we're running into June. So therefore, we should, go ahead and let those numbers reflect what they're supposed to. And then you just keep working on the system with Don and them, doing whatever you're doing, because basically all they're doing is trying to balance out what we have spent.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to OANC, because what I think it's still, because the system is the corrections that need to be made, that was made on our worksheet, that affects these numbers that we're talking about in the quarters. And once that's all taken care of, it does happen. What you're saying, Gail.
Right. But again, they're trying to balance out the numbers and could care less, about our projected budget or what it's going to reflect.
so basically, Rob, the approved FY21, those numbers are what they're going to be.
Exactly.
Okay. So
Right.
you have all of those projected dollars and cents in there.
In FY21, yes, in the budget.
Yes, so that
Q1.
first column is what, so those are the charges for the whole year that's been placed in there and what the ending balance should be, right?
Right, that's what it should have
Okay.
been.
So I believe, and I may be incorrect, all they want you to do is to take the Q1, the Q2, the Q3, and the Q4 and plug those numbers in under the disbursements. Don't touch the
Oh, don't touch the
FY
fiscal year. Don't touch the
21.
fiscal year budget. Yeah.
No,
Right.
don't touch that. Just where the zeros are, they actually want to see what the numbers are, even though, you know, you
Oh.
see the year to date, you see the remaining, but just the information, even though the allotments are in there, because they put the total allotment of 9,858 up here already.
Right.
And
So
then
you
we
want-
still have 3286 remaining that we need to receive because we haven't received that allotment for Q4. So that's what she stipulated.
Right. So what you want, so what you're saying here is that you want to go into direct office costs and put in that 1650, go into communication and put in what 3 times 75 is what
For the
7.
Q4, yes.
Yeah, that's 750. So you want to take those numbers and hypothetically plug those in and see what happens.
Well,
Right.
no,
See,
that would be
because
our projected budget.
This
That
be
would- that would be-
actually,
Yeah.
see, your projected budget is already there where it says approve FY21.
Right.
It's already so that's what it is. But what they're saying is all the places that you have like on Q4, number 2, direct office calls, 1650, 1100, 1800. On the Q4 report, what is that number?
Well,
What
we haven't done,
expense? I'm sorry.
no, we haven't done a report yet because this is for the current fiscal year, not last year, right?
No, this Q1.
Yeah. See, I'm getting confused. I think how many conversations are we having?
This is Q1 for 2021.
Right, which would be October, November, and December of 2020. Like if you even want to notate
That's
it
what-
up top.
Right, these are 2020.
No.
No,
Well, only Q1. Q2 is 2021. Because
no. I'm talking about Q4.
That's 2021.
that's 21. We haven't gotten there yet. That's July,
Okay.
August, and September.
Okay, so we have Q1, 1650. That you said that we've already voted on Q1, which was October, shucks. Q1 would be for 2021, October through December
2020, yes.
2020. Then, so we have Q2 for January 1st through March 31st.
Correct.
And that was 1101. Then we have Q3, which is April 1st through
June.
June.
To June, yeah.
Therefore, it shouldn't be 1800 right here because June 30th has not come yet. So we wouldn't have $1,800 here. Or am I
Right.
correct?
But that
Or
18
is that the 2 months rent plus 12 2 months rent plus the printers?
Right.
Well,
So
2 months
that-
worth of printing costs. I'm just saying.
But wait a minute. Keep in mind, this is still projected, so you can still put 3 months rents in there.
Correct.
Right. That's why I'm asking what then. So that means that 1650 should have been in Q2
3.
as well as
4.
in 3 as
Exactly.
well as in 4.
Exactly.
Right. So if we pass the quarters, we can assume that it's been spent. We retroactively go back. Let's say we paid more or less, our rent went up, then you fix the numbers so that every quarter that's already happened is accurate and every quarter that has not happened yet is projected.
I understand that part, but
can I-
my question was, Okay, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I had an additional question, but go ahead.
I was going to take us in a different direction, so you go ahead, please.
No, I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Wait, before you do that, then, sorry, Colleen, if you are
Go ahead.
going in different
Go ahead.
directions. So if we're saying Q1, like, right, 1650 is what we paid. Is that, yes, we've all agreed on that. But in the Q4 quarterly report for year 20, which encompasses, wait, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, see, you guys are confusing me. And the other thing is that you also have to keep in mind the notes that the inaccuracies that were in the worksheet have not been corrected yet.
But they're gonna correct in your system, not on this projected report.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
in other
but they're
words,
showing up on this. When you put the number, when I put the numbers in, they show up on this. And this is what OANC explained to me. This is why this, like, if you see that $1,800, you'll see like that $1,800 down there in category, that's category 3. And then here, $1,800 in communications category 3.
No, it's in category
But-
2.
Wait a minute, that $1,800, yeah, that's in 2. Yeah, my bad, yeah.
but I understand what you're saying.
No,
But-
I'm right. It's in category 2 in our notes too. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it backwards. In category 2, yeah, here, and category 2 here.
Right, and I understand that. However, unless they are or we decide that we're going to pay more or less for something, those numbers should not change in the projected report.
Right.
The
So,
numbers are going to, so the numbers you're dealing with when y'all trying to balance out that y'all trying to balance out money already spent, but that doesn't change the projected report or what we plan to spend or what we have already spent.
can I just clarify one thing? Is the direct office cost only our rent, or is there something else included?
Right here, the direct office cost would be the rent. That would be the rent and some of CIT.
Oh, just some of the printer. How do we
Some of the printer, because remember, we can pull those numbers, and I've been looking at this. We can pull the rest of CIT from other places as time goes on.
Okay.
I could have put this 6,600 there, which would have been a flat number, but that wouldn't be reflective of, hey, case we get a late charge, case we have to pay for a lost key, or whatever things that may happen along the way.
Oh, so we have an extra $600 budgeted in direct office cost for just for our rent?
No, it's not just for rent. It's there, and what happens is that we can always go there and get that. Say if we wanted to use it for communications, or we wanted to use it for grants or supplies or whatever. If it's anything that's there, say if it's $500 there.
Yeah, so you're building in a cushion. I get that. Why wouldn't we just move that cushion down to the other category? Or open a savings account and put the money into savings?
That's a good question.
Sorry, why can't we do what?
So the question was, if we're trying to build a cushion into the budget, why not just move that extra cushion either down to the other category or just put it in a savings account so that if we need to use it, we can, but otherwise we have it in savings.
First of all, Colleen, we don't have a savings account. Remember, this is a government account, so
yeah, we can open one.
Can have one, yeah. Other ANCs have them.
Well, we don't have a savings account, okay? So let's start with that. So there's no savings account to move it into, one, and two, OANC doesn't like to see a lot of money sitting into other.
Okay. We could open up a savings account in theory and just put extra money in savings.
But we can vote. That's something. That's why we're doing this, folks. We can vote on do we want a savings account. I mean, we don't have to. I mean, you put it on the table and we can talk about it and we can vote on it. But the reality is there is no savings account to put money into right now. And if you want that, put it out there.
Right. Understood.
Okay.
One other question: when did our rent increase?
Ursula, I think that one's for you because I wasn't paying that much attention. I wasn't treasurer when that happened.
I can go into my email because I sent that to everyone when we had the increase.
Wasn't that in 2020?
I don't even want to guess
Okay.
or what have you. I'm not even dealing in that tonight. So when we did, we also went before the commission and we did vote in terms of the increase. Is that correct?
Yes, it went from 450 to 500, correct?
450 to 550.
Okay, well, it went to 500 first.
Yeah. And
Because,
so
but then we moved office too. Remember, we went to a larger office.
But that wasn't why it changed.
that's not why it changed.
Okay.
It changed prior to us moving downstairs. But I just like I said, we did vote on it, but I would still like to go to the email so I can give you the specific date. But I would like to go back to my other point that I was trying to make earlier. Is since this is, as Commissioner Carley stated, a projected budget, if you notice on number 2 for the direct office costs, we have a remaining balance of $2649.99 in that category. So even if you put in the projected $1650 for those 3 months, we would still be good and would not be in a deficit posture on that line item.
It should be all.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other 3 months, so all 4 months will reflect that, correct?
Yes, the once you drop in that 1650, that will reduce to 2649, and then it would be that additional amount that Commissioner Armin was talking about that we were utilizing for CIT. So that was the other part of my sentence that I just wanted to state.
So can CIT be a line item by itself?
No, Gail. It's to my understanding.
Number 4. That's what John suggested.
Yeah, I mean, it literally says printing on it. Like, it feels like a printer should probably go under printing.
Well, to you, remember, you're talking like regular talk, and then you're talking government talk. So I see where you see office supplies. Preeta, you talk about what office supplies says equipment and printing, right?
Yeah.
Right. But and for the sake of doing the worksheet and the system that OANC has, it's confusing to them and to us. And so it was after going over this over and over again, it's like they said, oh, they kept saying, well, what is this CIT that you guys are paying $464 and $238 for? I was like, it's our printer and our scanner. And they're like, that's a direct office cost, and that should be in category 2, not underneath office supplies. But in the past, we had been putting it underneath. We've been putting it underneath office supplies.
So it should be direct office cost.
It should, because their system, it works better for them, because that's why Ursula and I had to produce they asked us for the contract. They had to see it because they kept saying, well, what is this? And then when you get the receipts from CIT, so the bottom line is that they were like, we had to include our contract and supporting documents to show that. And then when they reviewed it, they was like ANC 5B, this is a direct office cost, and this is not a office supply cost.
So these disbursements, are you able to put up there in too, that it's CIT or printer beside it?
When you, I'm Gail, I'm not following the question. Could you say it again?
Where it reads direct office costs, are you able to put CIT? The
Oh,
printer?
yeah. You know what, Gail? Gail, that actually shows up on the worksheet. So when I put it on the worksheet, I would do rent. I would do rent. Our landlord. Our landlord goes on the worksheet. Then the category goes to. Then I go CIT. The category goes to.
Right.
Right.
So how do you get it? How do you get it on this projected budget?
How, what do you mean? Other than me putting it in, or how does it show? I'm not
So
sure.
so you have to go in the system to create this projected budget?
I went into the system and just put the numbers in. I went onto our budget sheet and said, okay, these are numbers that work. These are numbers that don't take us over. The first set of numbers took us over $13,000. So we had to go back in again and put in numbers that would not take us over $13,000. ANC looked at it and said that works, right?
For a projected budget?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's projected because the bottom line is they don't want ANC or any ANC to go over.
But we've done a projected budget before where we had this is how much we paid each quarter for rent. This is how much we paid each quarter for this, but it didn't go over. I'm just saying.
The thing about it is that I think to your point that we can go in. I'm sure that we can go in and plug those numbers in. But what I'm concerned about is I don't know how reflective that is. I don't know how the system works with that because we don't always. I mean, things don't always get in quarterly, I should say.
But it's not. It's what quarter is getting paid.
Okay. All right.
Does that make? You understand what I'm saying?
All right. So I tell you what. Why don't we do this? We spent a lot of time on this one. So why don't we? You folks tell me what you want to do, and we start there. You tell me. You want me to go in, give you another budget with those numbers plugged into Q4, correct?
Well, no. Whatever we spent for Q1, you can plug them numbers in because we already did it. And then for Q2, 3, and 4, you can go ahead and put the $1,650 in for each for rent. And for that computer, that's pretty much the same. The grant, so all of that would be the same. Only thing that would probably change would be bank charges.
Let me see if we can do that because, like I said, I don't put these numbers in, so I don't think that I can.
Our budget. It's our budget.
Yeah, but the worksheet, but the software generates after you get the stuff in. It starts.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Gail.
You can plug those numbers in, and then you'll have something in each quarter. And then that way, once you look at it, you can look at it and see, all right, does this make sense based on the outcome of what we put in each? Because right now we haven't received any of our allotments.
None.
We are projecting this budget based on receiving allotments for each one of those quarters.
Right. Okay, so we go back and we take these numbers and I will plug all you want projected numbers for direct office costs, communication, plugged in there, and
so whatever you pay January through March, through the last day of March, for that printer, that should be in all Q2, Q3, and Q4.
Right, and we can look at the supporting. Let me see. Oh, you guys can't. I couldn't have the ability to share my screen because I was going to say, if we looked at the supporting documents, that would have told us what we paid. The problem is the supporting documents wouldn't share for some reason. I went back to OAC and said, hey, how come these things aren't shared? And it was like, well, we don't know. Because I sent you guys yesterday supporting documents, and then I was told that only you guys should have only opened up one check, right? Check 1239. That's the only one that seemed to work out of 21 documents.
And even for the bank charges, whatever charges incurred for January through March, you can put them in all 4 of those as well. Because it's projected. And then at the end of the year, we'll look and, you guys plug the numbers in, but at least this would be a little, a little bit more closer to what we would project we're going to spend.
I can do that. I will do that. I'm not sure whether or not that's how this works, but I tell you what, let me go do that. And then let's see, because we can vote on this. We don't have to vote on this right now. We can vote on this in our June meeting, right? So let me give you another projected budget with those numbers plugged in, like you said, and let's see what happens. Let's see if it changes the how it changes this worksheet. Like, to my understanding is that the worksheet does itself after I get my proper numbers and proper categories in, but I'm going to go back and try it another way now and see what happens, okay?
Can I ask?
It might be easier if you kind of make the annotations on a sheet, and then when you go plug it in, then it'll just be easier.
Yeah, Gail, I work, that's the way I work. I still do it with a yellow pad, a calculator, and all of that stuff when I work it. So yeah, exactly that. Okay.
I've got 2 quick questions before we move on. So you had mentioned a computer. Can you just tell me what the computer purchase is?
Oh, no. I think you misunderstood, Colleen. I said that say if we wanted to buy a computer, we would pull that out of office supplies. We're not buying a computer.
I'm sorry.
We're not buying a computer, at least right now. We haven't voted on anything like that. But I'm saying that's why I thought, hey, say one day we might decide we want a new laptop, a new computer, or we want to buy tablets for all 5 commissioners. We could pull out of office supplies or something like that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard Gail mention a computer too.
One other question. You said that we was paying for printing and scanning. We pay for scanning?
Oh, I mean, our printer scans, right? We just don't use it. Our printer does that thing that we have in our office, does everything.
We have internet?
No, that's one of the things see, when you go up to communications, great point. When you go up to communications, you see that $3,000 for cell phones, and then you see I have that $350 there. That other $250 would be Prita, what's that? $19 times 12. What is that? That would give us, so we could pull that. We could pull our internet from what's it called, Skype or Snap, or whatever Prita's been looking at, and pay for it from there.
I had one other quick question, because I'm still not clear on this. We haven't gotten any allotments yet for FY21, which I understand, but can we plug in our anticipated allotments?
Well, that's what Gail is saying, right?
Yeah.
Gail said plug in numbers,
You can.
plug in allotments.
Yes, sir.
Right.
You can.
Okay, because I think if we had that in the financial picture, it would be a lot easier.
Okay, that's not the way OANC asked you to do it, but I'm gonna do that and see what happens. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it would make it
That
a
was
lot
the first
easier to
question.
see the
That
full.
was the first question I had asked him, if he could plug in the numbers while we were on the line
Yep.
so we could see it. So that was
Okay.
the initial
Can I
question.
may I just finish? It would make it a lot easier to see the full financial picture and what resources we actually have available to us if we could also include our anticipated allotments, not just the actual. That's all. Thank
Right,
you.
but the other thing is that while we're thinking about that, we also need to be working towards getting those allotments by getting those quarterlies in. We got Q3 has been submitted. We need to work on Q4. It's basically Q4 is basically ready. We should probably vote on that next week and submit it and see what you know. I feel pretty confident about Q4, because I worked on it, and I worked on it with OANC and supplied them with everything that they needed as we went through the process. So I think that our Q3, Q4 will get us our next allotments, and then I can move on to Q1.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
We should probably move on. If I'm gonna do what you folks asked me to do, because I'm just very mindful of time, and we have not poor, but my buddy Commissioner Feely sitting on the line with us. So
Tolerant.
he's been through all of this before, but yeah, I just I know he's kind of sitting there like, oh Lord.
Well,
No,
so sorry.
no, that brings back fond memories.
Yeah.
You mentioned next week. Do you mean the 23rd or?
No, I mean that I schedule, and this is like not agenda. So, but I scheduled my BZA vote next Wednesday, and I also put on there that we can vote. I also included in the agenda, and Preeta, I need for you to put this on the website, please. I also included that we can vote on the budget and the FY20 Q4. But if we're not ready to do that, then we have to do it on the 23rd. I thought we would be ready after this evening, but it doesn't look like we're going to be ready.
You can plug the numbers and send it back out.
Yeah.
I can do that. I will see, tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah, I can do that tomorrow. I will sit down tomorrow midday and plug those numbers in for you.
Sorry, just to be, is the meeting that is this your SMD or is this everyone? Sorry, this is the first I'm hearing about next week.
Yeah, this is my SMD meeting. This is a special SMD.
Is this a special meeting for ANC 5B, or is this your single member district meeting, Commissioner?
No, right, yeah. So now I got to get the terminology right on this. I am voting on my BZA case on next week, and I'm asking commissioners to join me for that vote so I can get a quorum and so I can submit that BZA.
Is this a full commission meeting then?
No, it's not. No, pardon me?
It's not, or it is. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's two people talking, Ursula. I didn't hear. What was the question?
Go ahead.
No, I thought
Is
this.
it a full committee? Is it a full commission meeting? I think was Commissioner Costello's question.
Well, I'm not calling it a full commission meeting.
Commission meeting.
Well, so sorry, Commissioner Amin is saying it's not. He's not calling it a full commission meeting, and Commissioner Carley is saying it is. I'm very confused as to what's happening.
Okay, so if he wants to take a vote, this is the thing. If you want to take a vote, Commissioner Amin, then that means it's not a full commission meeting. This is a special meeting that it was my assumption you were calling a special meeting, so you could take a vote so you could get your BZA application voted on. So the only way that can be voted on by all commissioners is that it's a special ANC 5B meeting. But if it's not a special, if it's just a single member district meeting, then the commissioners don't need to be in attendance and a vote cannot be taken.
Right. So here's the thing. I called it a special meeting. I didn't call it an ANC. I didn't call it a 5B04 meeting. I advertised it to the public as a special meeting. And I'm inviting my commissioners to join me for this vote on next week. I need a quorum to do this. Is that
So
clear?
you gotta call it, even though it's a special meeting, you do, for transparency, say ANC 5B.
Right.
All right. So I just called it a special meeting, but that's no big deal. I can go back and I think it went out. I sent it out today. My assistant sent it out. So I called it an ANC 5B. I mean, I called it a special meeting. So I would just go back and say, we're still within a week, ANC 5B special meeting.
Yeah, it has to be clarified so it won't be any issues.
Right. Yeah. No, that's no big deal. I can go back. I've reached out. I hope that at least 2 more people can join me. I think I've gotten 2 people. So, but I will go back.
When you said you reached out, so I'm assuming what's happening here is you and Commissioner Curley and Commissioner Higgins have decided to have this meeting, because I have not. If you've reached out to your colleagues, I have not been in that list.
I haven't decided.
I haven't even been contacted about this. This is the first I'm hearing about it. So.
Right. And what was stated at the meeting was that Commissioner, if I may be mistaken, though, you stated that you wanted to table it for your special meeting so you could take a vote. So that was expressed at the meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the budget items.
Wait a minute, I'm not finished with, so that's why I'm trying to get clarity from Commissioner Amin, because what was stated previously and was stated now, it's 2 different things. So we do need clarity. Is this an ANC 5B special meeting for your BZA, or is it not? Well, all of us are on the line, so we'll know what is expected from us and what your next steps are.
Thank you for that. Okay, so I advertised this, I announced this as a special meeting. I will go back this evening and change that to an ANC 5B special meeting, if that's the proper terminology. We're still 7 days out. The secretary can put it up on our website by this evening. Call it an ANC 5B special meeting for the vote on my BZA case, the one that was presented at the last meeting. Now, I also included the voting on the budget and the Q4 in there, because I figured that we would all be there. But if we don't advertise that, we just vote on the BZA and vote on the budget in June. I thought we were trying to get our Q4 released.
It needs to be listed on that document that we're posting so everyone will know exactly what we will be doing at that meeting. So,
and I did list it. I listed it on my document, Commissioner Higgins. On my document said vote on. I think I said discuss, but discuss on BZA, Q4, and the FY21 budget.
Can we get a copy of that? Did you send the meeting announcement? You need to send that to us as well so we can send it to our constituents.
Right.
You should probably also, I think, unless you folks deleted me, all of you get my email. It's on my website, but all of you get my emails. So you would have gotten my assistant sent it out sometime this afternoon prior to us getting online. So all of you would have gotten an email from me announcing what I just said. Every one of you, if you check, it might be rolling over into your like spam or updates. And I think with Colleen and Prita, I think I have your, you guys get an email from me, but I think it's going to your personal email addresses. So it'll be in there.
I actually don't think I'm on your email list. I've never gotten any from you. Would you mind adding me?
Well, you must have deleted it because I know that I sent it to you because when you first got elected, I started sending you stuff. But no worries.
I don't remember ever getting any. Maybe it's the wrong email address because I think there has been some confusion with my email address.
Okay,
in the past.
that's we can correct that. I will send it to your your ANC address now.
Yeah, that works. Thank you.
Okay,
Hey,
great.
and I mean, it was one other thing I want to say. So if you have the visa vote and the budget and the queue, or if you keep it that way, that's fine. However, if you remove the budget, when we show up for the meeting, we can't vote on the budget. So whatever's on that special report listed, that's the only thing that we can, that's the only business we can take care of that day.
Right. Yes. I understand that.
Okay.
So I also just want to flag for the record, because when we tabled the budget conversation at our public meeting last week, we tabled it with a specific date, which was for tomorrow. I understand that not everyone can make it tomorrow, but as of right now, it's tabled for tomorrow. There is a meeting being held tomorrow. People can show up or not show up, but I don't know that we can, I'll turn it to the parliamentarian, but I'm not sure that we can schedule another meeting to discuss what's supposed to be discussed tomorrow.
I thought we didn't give notification for that.
We give notification. It's been up and I shared it per what came out of our public meeting, since we publicly stated it on the record that the motion was specifically to delay until Thursday at 6:30.
Okay, so in this case, so you're going to go ahead and have the meeting, correct?
I have not been. Yes, that's what the public is expecting. Yes, if there's not quorum, there's not quorum. But I think
no, I get it. I get it. I just wanted to make sure that I'm correct in what I'm asking. So tomorrow, there will be a special a meeting held tomorrow in reference to the budget and the Q4.
It's just for the Q4.
Just the
We do not. Yeah, it's just for the Q4.
Yeah, so I will not be, I'm not available tomorrow. So, the meeting is the meeting. And you sent out the link?
Yep. It's all out. It's on the website. It's public.
Okay, no problem. So, you guys have the meeting tomorrow. And then, just proceed from there. And Commissioner Amin, you'll be having your meeting for your BZA on what date?
The 9th at 6 p.m.
Okay. All right. So would you please send that information as well? And I guess after tomorrow, then you guys can let me know, what came out of the meeting. So I'll be abreast of that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we may not have quorum. I would just say that then I think for the
I don't
Q4,
know. I was just speaking for myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, Commissioner Carley said also she wasn't available, and Commissioner, we just can't cancel the meeting without notice because the public has already been noticed, and everyone that was in attendance at our public meeting heard. Like, I've already got constituents saying that they'll be on tomorrow. So I guess that means I think it's prudent then, especially since we don't have a final budget in front of us, that we wait for the Q4 and the budget approval until our June meeting, because also we're supposed to let our community kind of see the budget and weigh in on the budget before we formally vote to adopt it. So, well, yeah, it's in our bylaws.
No, I didn't say it wasn't. So,
sorry, I thought I heard someone say no.
No, as we stated in the meeting previously, when we shared the budget, we also asked for feedback from the community in terms of our budget.
Yeah, except for we weren't able to actually share the details of the budget. That's when we kind of similar to tonight when we started asking questions about what's included in that. We weren't giving so we haven't actually been able to present them with.
May I propose a solution that I hope will work for everybody? It'll give us enough time to address some of the concerns that Commissioner Carley and others have raised, and also like deliberate and come up with a final budget and then present it to the community. Why don't, since it's June 2nd now, Commissioner Amin, do you think we could aim to get the revised budget that we discussed tonight out to everybody by the 10th, next Thursday? And then
I thought we was gonna have it out tonight.
okay, sorry, let me close the door. I've got a screaming kid here. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah,
No, I thought Commissioner Amin said he was gonna have the budget out tonight.
Oh, tonight. Oh, okay.
No. I did not say tonight. I said I will sit down and do what Commissioner Carley and everyone else suggested. Let's plug in those numbers, but I won't be able to get back to that until tomorrow midday at the earliest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then, you know, I hopefully we can maybe exchange a conversation via email on this. I don't know if we need to schedule another meeting, but if we could get something finalized by Monday, June 14th, then we can send it out to the community well in advance of our meeting on the 23rd, and then everyone should be good to go, I hope. Does that sound feasible?
Well, yeah, it is feasible. I don't see why it isn't, but if we could get it done prior to then, because the 14th is like when is 2 weeks away.
Yeah, about a week and a half.
Yeah, because the purpose, I guess the purpose, not trying to rush anything, but the purpose is so we can get all of the information into the office of ANC so we can start trying to get our allotments. That's why it's so important that we, that we get the Q4 approved and so we can send that in.
Oh,
That's the purpose.
Yeah, so let me clarify what I was saying. So the Q4, as long as we have quorum tomorrow, hopefully we can get it approved. And with respect to the budget, I mean, it sounds like we just want to try and get some more concrete numbers in the spreadsheet and take another look at it. So that's what I was talking about. If we could try to get that circulated to everyone by the 10th and then have a final copy ready by the 14th so we can share it with the community and be ready to go by the 23rd. Is that a timeline that would work for everyone, and in particular, Commissioner Amin?
You know, I'm going to give you a tentative yes. There's a lot going on. I have a lot going on both professionally and personally.
Sure.
So, like all of us, so it's not just me.
Yeah.
And so I will do my best with the to meet those deadlines with the budget, but honestly, I don't see what the holdup is on Q4 at this point. Even if you don't support Q4 at this point,
no holdup.
Right? So we should vote. We could vote on that
tomorrow.
Well,
yeah, we can vote on it tomorrow.
I don't think you have a quorum tomorrow.
Oh, I thought we weren't sure if we were going to have a quorum or not. Just we know that Commissioner Higgins is not going to make it.
And Commissioner Carley can't make it, and I can't make it. So you, so you three don't. So you two don't have a quorum. This is why I put it on the 9th, because I figured that that's enough time. We will have a quorum.
Oh, we will. Sorry, I thought we didn't. I thought we didn't realize that everyone was.
No one said it wasn't going to be there.
Right.
Oh,
no
sorry.
one.
I thought Commissioner Amin said he just sent it out to the public. I didn't realize that it was already established that there was going to be a quorum.
It was brought up tonight.
No, I know, but we didn't. I did not hear everyone say, yes, I'll be there. No, I won't be there. I just heard Commissioner Amin say he sent it to his constituents.
Right. So who can make the 9th? Let's do that. Let's just keep it simple. Who can make it?
I can make the 9th.
I can make it.
I'm looking at my calendar. Would you mind holding for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, so I can make it. Ursula can make it. Gail, can you make it?
Yes, sir.
No, that's a quorum. Prita, can you make it?
I will have to reschedule one of the community meetings I have, and I'll try to do that. But if I'm not going to be there, let me.
But Prita, your meeting starts at 7, right?
No, mine starts at 5:30.
Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And what about Colleen? Did Colleen get offline to check something? Is that what she went to do?
She's looking at her calendar. But let me ask this, because in advance of that, one of the questions I had at the public meeting that we didn't yet have clarity on, and I'm not sure if we still do, is on the Q4 report, we have direct office cost at 2225, which is one more than 3 months rent. And same for communication, we have 2203. And so you were gonna help us kind of figure out how that total came together.
Yeah. First of all, let's start with, I was in the treasurer doing Q4. So
Yeah, you inherited some fun.
I inherit, and what I have to work with when you inherit it is I have to work with what's already been done. And once all of those numbers are plugged in, that's what you get on that worksheet. That worksheet will then generate, and that's what comes up. The good news about that Q4 is that Q3 ending number and that Q4 beginning number are the same. And that's what's going to, Q4 is gone, it's done. That's what's going to release our money.
Can I ask you a question? Are you talking about office supplies that's on the projected report, or are you talking about this Q4 report?
I'm talking about the actual, this one that's in front of us. I'm talking about Q4. Okay. So we've got 2203 in communication, 2225 in office cost, and 572.94 in office supplies and equipment. And so those seem like very high numbers to me. And I can't see all of it. Like the office cost, that, I mean, that's for 3 months, it should be 1650, and it's more than that.
Did you not say earlier that you had switched the equipment to direct office costs?
I don't think that took effect yet, because in the budget we just looked at, it had 1650
right.
in Q1.
Yeah, that would not have taken effect yet. And let's see, in Q4, I don't have these documents in front of me, but
wait a minute. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You saying that would not have taken effect yet, but you just did this report. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. So wait a minute. So
I'm talking about the direct office cost. The printer used to be in office supplies.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's getting late, and I am tired. I'm starting to get tired because it's already 8 o'clock. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Thanks for that. Yes. The bottom line is yes, and what we're doing is we're kind of transitioning from category 3 to category 2, category 3 to category 4, and when you look at the quarterly reports, you'll start to see how those categories have been changing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that would account for that direct office cost.
Yeah, that increase, when you look at that, the increased direct office cost, when you see so you just don't see like a 1650, some of these CIT costs would have been put there.
So then what went into the communication cost? Because when we talked about it at the public meeting, you thought that CIT might be in the communication cost, because that's 2,200 is really high for 3 months of a Sprint bill.
What? I don't have it in front of me, Preeta. What is it?
Sorry, it's being shared on the screen. It's
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my own screen. Remember, I'm looking at my budget.
It's 2203.52 for communication, and then there's an additional 572.94 in office supplies, equipment, and printing.
Right. Okay. So I don't have the Sprint bill in front of me, but it's probably the Sprint bills. Because communications will be Sprint, so that
$248 a month should be $744.
Yeah.
Well, you have an average. I mean, like, I think that you folks are are saying like it's always going to be what would you say 238 a month. That's not necessarily the case.
But we have unlimited plans, so even though even if we all talk on the phone 24 hours a day, that cost doesn't go up. If there's cost, and I will have to get to the cell phone purchases that may make it go up, but our monthly bill shouldn't actually change. We have unlimited data, unlimited talk, and unlimited text.
Yeah, it could be. Let me see.
I'm asking because as I know it, and granted I'm coming in late, our monthly expenses should be around $3,150 a month, given our reoccurring, the printer, the rent, and the office supplies.
Yeah, but
for 3 months, that should be our.
So
that should be our thing for 3 months. It should be
question.
$1,050 a month in monthly reoccurring costs. But for 3 months, it should be about the 3,300, and we are almost 1,500 over. So I'm trying to figure out where that came from.
If you look at the second page, it actually lists what the expenditures are, and it looks like we did have a lot of expenditures.
Get to it.
Like,
thank you, Colleen. That's what. Yeah, like I said, my. It's been a long day. This is a long conversation, folks. If you look at that second page, page 2 of that budget, you see the expenditures. Like I said, I'm not seeing what you folks are seeing. I'm looking at my own screen here. Let me see. Let me get rid of this. See if I can see.
I don't have this document doesn't have the page 2, but that's what I was going to say. All you have to do is to look at the expenses associated with those numbers. I'm not sure who just spoke up about page 2, but what does that total come up to?
Well, so we've got 3 different Sprint bills and 1 CIT bill that we paid. So the total is 2203, which makes sense. If you're just looking at Sprint, take out CIT, the phone bills would have been 1414, and then CIT was a separate fee of 789. So together it's 2203. Now it's unclear to me why we had such high phone expenses, because it looks like we paid 2 extra months worth of phone bills during this quarter for some reason. So maybe we were playing catch up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So that was one of the things that we were talking about earlier, because the expense might not totally equal what is allotted for that particular quarter, especially if the bills were not paid in that quarter. So if they weren't paid until Q4, it will be off because it will be the total of the expenses paid.
Yeah.
So then, sorry, I pulled up the second. Sorry, Colleen, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just saying, so I pulled up the transactions. It looks like there are 3 checks for $550. Well, 1 check for $575, 1 check for $550, and another for $552. It looks like for rent, and then there's a 4th check for $550, but it says check lost and never cashed. But it looks like it's being factored into our direct office cost.
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
Yeah.
Was that the one for the Ally Group?
Yeah, that would have been that September check, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, September 2nd.
Right.
Exactly. And that's what I was talking about previously when Dawn said that even though it was allocated for another quarter, they have to leave it on that spreadsheet for whenever the payment was placed, even though it was for rent for whatever that.
But it says the check was lost and never cashed. So the payment was not made.
I know. I was just giving an example.
Oh, okay.
How it's recorded within whatever that report is. And if it wasn't accounted for in a proper category, then it was recategorized. And that was one of the things that she has stated on that budget, that it was recategorized. So it was popping up in the system because this was the date that it was changed. So we're seeing it in that quarterly budget. So I don't know why it appears that way, but she said, as Ross stated, that it will calculate itself once everything is turned in. So what we had to do was send in those council checks, which we did, showing that they were voided.
Hmm.
And then we had to do a stop payment because it was actually 3 checks. And 2 of them we had to rewrite, and 1 of them had to be voided because they had lost the check. And then we had to pay a cost for the stop payment of that
Right.
check.
Oh, so was the stop payment after Q4? Like, was it done sometime after September? Is that it?
Yeah,
It was
stop
done, yeah, it was done after that, during the Q4 period, which was October 1 through December.
That would be Q1, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Q4, which was during that period of time, July through September 30th.
Sorry, I think I got confused. So just to be clear, the lost check,
Was for September, which was in Q4.
but it wasn't cashed.
It wasn't cash, but we had to do a stop payment.
Okay, so but even though so that's where I think I'm wondering if that's where the extra money is coming from on direct office costs, because if you
Right.
total up all of the Ali group checks, it gets to 2225, but really
Right.
we didn't spend 2225.
Right. And that, yeah, that will correct itself now that we supplied the documents. We have the and that's why this has been such a long drawn out process. I had to go stop payment. I had to, thanks to Ursula, had all of this stuff. I had to go find all of this information, and then because OANC can't correct the workbook until we provide the supporting documents. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple of months for everything that doesn't make sense to them. They're like, hey, you have to stop payment. You need to find that voided check. So, and once we provide that, they can fix it. They put it in on our new worksheet. It corrects itself. Now, when it corrects itself, I don't know when. And then everything should work out.
So let me ask you this. So you're saying that check is in here? I don't have the second page. So does it reflect that on the second page that check, the voided check is calculated in there?
No.
Yeah, there's some other checks. It says 1250 and 1251 were voided, and it doesn't have an expense attached to it. But 1255 says check lost, but sorry, it says check lost, but it still shows it as an expense that was deducted.
Right.
And that's where I think it's different. Is like the other. It's clear that there are other checks that were voided, and that's handled the way that I would be used to it being handled, which is this check number is voided and we're done. The fact that this extra 550, even though it says it's never cashed, is still coming out of the account is a little strange, or it's still showing up as a disbursement.
But I do understand it's got to be posted somewhere. So basically you're posting it there. But I think something should be kind of to clarify it more. It should something so when you see it, you'll know exactly what it represents.
Yeah.
Gail, that's great, because where it's clarified on the worksheet. So when OANC looks at the worksheet, they see it'll have that, and it'll have in parentheses, lost check or voided check or whatever it is. That's where the clarification is done. It's not done on this quarterly report.
But it should, because we're going to be voting on it.
So,
but that's not what. Now I can ask that question to OANC, but that's not what they want. They want it in the workbook.
And you can still do that. However, you can still make an annotation if it was the asterisk and then just blah 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 blah.
I agree. I mean, I think the public wants to know what was spent at the end of the day. However, we need to give it to OANC is different than what we need to show our constituents. Our constituents want to see what we spent before.
Yeah, put a little asterisk there and then just go ahead and say, so when you
let me do this. That's a question that I will take back to the OANC and see what they want, because honestly,
what are you going to do with this? Once we vote on this, what are you going to do with it?
It has to be turned in.
Okay, but do we not keep a copy of it for ourselves?
Yes.
And we have to post it on our site.
We need to
Right,
be able
and
to
we-
explain
and
it
we
when
can-
we look at it. When
Right.
we look at it.
We can do one. It can be 2 copies if that's what you're asking. That's where I'm going with this. There's what you officially turn in, and here's the thing: like they may not. I don't know exactly everything they're interested in, but they may not be interested in all of that because they're going to tell me. I suspect that hey, this is in the workbook. You don't need to muddy this up with all of this. Now, if we want a copy that we share publicly.
We have to have a copy that we keep in for ourselves.
Right.
Gail, can you see my screen?
That's what the workbook
yeah,
is for.
very
Gail.
small.
I think that's why we share the new workbook, so it's there and not on this. Yeah.
Right, but and I understand OAC wants to do things and they want to do it so they can be in compliance with whatever they're supposed to.
Can't see it.
So that we can be able to, I can't see either, but so that we will be able to look at something. Hey, they might come in and do an audit, and then they pull that out. We look at it and say, well, what is this? We'll have that asterisk and be able to explain it.
Yeah, but if they did an audit, they would most likely do it through the OANC. That would come through our workbook. But with that being said, that I will ask that question. I would say, hey, can we have on the quarterly report that we keep on record? Can we make those notations there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
great.
We can do that. They can have their copy, and we can do whatever we want with ours.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, we can do that. It's a lot of work.
Can I
to be doing all that stuff.
Can I ask one quick question?
Can we move on?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. It just occurred to me to ask. So, if we voided this one check, the one that was never cashed, shouldn't it show up as voided just like the other 2?
Right. That was, yeah, I agree.
Even regardless of when we voided it, now that we're filing our QFR, if it was voided.
Yes, it should.
Oh, okay. So if we did void it, then we should just write void on here, right?
That's correct.
It was a lost check. How do you write void on a lost check, Colleen?
I mean, you can do a stop check. Yeah,
we did that. That's what you will see that reflected on our budget too. You will see a $33 payment.
Listen, there's no need to be derogatory. What I'm
not
referring
being
to,
derogatory, Colleen. I just don't know where you're going in all this. We've been going on and on all of this already.
Can I answer? Thank you. What I'm referring to is the worksheet that was included with the proposed QFR that you sent to us for Q4. On the worksheet, we do have 2 other checks that are listed as being void, but the one that was never cashed is not listed as void. The 2 checks that were voided don't have any expense line next to them. They're zeroed out. And so I'm wondering if we void the check that was never cashed by the LE group, shouldn't that also be zeroed out as well? So we don't have this extra $550 expenditure showing.
Or stop payment on it.
Correct.
Right.
Like whatever the terminology we need to do to make it wasn't paid. The way it reflects here is that it was paid the way that all the other checks were paid.
And the way that it reflects in the workbook is a stop payment. It's so those 2 may say void. The other one will probably say a lost check or something like that. And then later on you will see $33 service charge, and then that's what the OANC looks at. They look at that lost check, and they looked at that we have to send documentation that check was actually 1 lost, and 2 we went to the bank and stopped payment on it. Then once they have that documentation, then they include that into our supporting documents. And are you looking at the Google Drive supporting documents or the OneDrive supporting documents?
I'm just looking at the PDF you sent.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be on that because it should be that what I just said should be in the supporting documents of the on the OneDrive, which for some reason when I send it out, it won't open, and I have to talk to them and figure out why it's not opening. It didn't open from them either.
What quarter or where or what month will it reflect that it's credit to our account?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah, I assume it was just corrected because I just got the just finished that process that I just explained to you about the documentation. Everything has to be documented. So now that that's been done, it's been properly indicated in the workbook, and so I assume that it's going to show up on the it's in the workbook, so it's probably going to show up on the budget somewhere.
Okay, is there any way that you, okay, so I think a couple of things need to take place so we can all be on the same page. If you've noted some of the comments and the feedback that we've gotten in terms of putting the asterisk and noting what's going on with that particular check, as well as dropping in the numbers on the budget,
Right.
and then resending, because again, that quarterly report, Q4 report, you can't change the expenditures or the way it's already written because that's what it is.
Right.
So we're just basically voting on the information that we have before us. But with that budget, you can make those adjustments according to, you know, the feedback that you've gotten from the commissioners, and then send it out to us, and then we can move forward from there so we can get the community's feedback and have the information available for them, and then take a vote on whichever day we decide to do that, or, you know, whatever the, you know, what everybody decides to do. But also, real quick, I want to take a break into action because I have to leave the meeting. So I know that there are questions in reference to the sprint. So we can jump on that so I can answer your questions so I can get off the line.
Yes, please.
What we
Commissioner,
gonna do about former Commissioner Feely? What we gonna do about him?
okay, yeah, well, you guys can, okay, go ahead, because I know he's been on there waiting so very patiently.
Yes,
Very patient.
yes, I'm happy.
So-
As long as Commissioner Higgins, you're going to stay on to discuss Sprint, correct?
No, I have to get off the line.
Well, with all due
I
respect,
put it in the chat box that I had to leave shortly.
I know,
this
but
is
I've asked for this. I've asked for this over email for over a week, and you've told me to wait until Cal. So I'm
Right,
hoping
but
that
who knew that we were going to be talking? So that's why I said if we could take a break in action, then we can go ahead and discuss it before I get off the line.
I'm okay with that. But unless you're willing to send it to me within the next few hours, and
No,
but like at this point, it feels like you're intentionally not discussing this.
Oh, no, that's why I just said can we take a break in action so we can discuss it.
Can I
Commissioner,
ask one question? Can I ask one question?
Sure.
The information that Commissioner Feely sent you guys, are y'all okay with that? Do y'all want to send him some questions via email? I mean, what would y'all like to do? Because he's been on here quite some time, and I thought he was very, you know, generous and thoughtful
Yes.
to send out that information.
Yes, I
Yes.
appreciate it. That's why I'd hoped that we could let Commissioner Feely go first, and suggested that earlier. But my
Okay,
first
go
question
ahead,
is, when is
Commissioner
this?
Bailey. You have the
Sorry, when is this presentation? When are you planning on making the community meeting?
Well, I wanted to present to the commission first to give an outline. I just sent what's called key points in the two documents. And basically what I did was after we have a meeting of the members of the development committee in May, right after the comp plan was voted on. And we agreed that there was a lot of useful language in the comp plan that was helpful to members of the community. And then we received the letter from the councilman. And so what I have just sent to all of you are key points that I was asked to pull out of the amendments to the comp plan. And so I have 7 points that I think people in the community should know about that need to be elaborated on, of course. And then the councilman's letter that came out on May the 19th, where he talked about his pieces in the amendment of the comp plan, things that he really stands behind. I think people in the community should know about those too. So that's what I would like to see presented. And it could be done in many ways. It could be done at a regular meeting of the commission and done by, it could be done by Commissioner Carley or anybody, but it also could be a public meeting that people are invited to. And I was thinking other people that could be involved in that would include committee members.
Commissioner, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
John Philly.
Feely. Just
So-
call me Feely.
Okay, so basically, we have not determined when, because we wanted to come and present at the Cal meeting.
Check.
And once we present at the Cal meeting, as he is doing, then we will come up with a projected date to invite the community.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, if you all see the general points, for example, the racial equity, the points on affordable housing, which were spelled out so specifically in the amended comp plan, I was really quite amazed that the council had such feedback to talk exactly about how the mean income has been figured incorrectly, really, to get affordable housing in the city. So those sorts of things I think people should know about. And then there are other things about the industrial areas that's spelled out over and over again in the amended comp plan that I think people ought to know about too. So why don't you all look over the things that I sent out, and then you could give me feedback and also maybe suggest people that should be involved in such a meeting. One of the things that I always admired about Chair Higgins is that when any meeting was presented, she always wanted to have it balanced with people. So for example, like Chris Otten, who I know has been looking over the comp plan seriously for years, and also the amended comp plan. He might be there, but then also somebody from the development community, like Mr. Green, for example, could be there. So, and I think that the function of the development committee might be to moderate, or prepare something to share with them.
And invite.
Yeah, and I think that this would be, I agree. I think the comp plan is as clear as mud. And so any opportunity for us to add clarity to it is a very good thing. I do want to flag, and I flagged this before, that any development committee meetings have to be public and noticed in the same way.
I've already addressed that, okay?
No, you've addressed it by saying you're not going to make it public.
You asked me and I responded.
I asked if you were going to share minutes and you said no, but that's actually, it's against DC law.
Okay, that's fine, but he's here to talk. Don't bring him into this.
Well,
okay,
he's a member of the commission and he is ultimately responsible.
But don't do this while he's here. Let him, if you got some questions about the comp plan in presenting.
It's not questions, it's that all of it should be public. And so I'm excited about this. I've gotten a lot of response from people who are also excited about this.
Fine.
I think that this would be good. The other thing I would mention is it looks like we've never actually officially, and this is something that we can take offline, Mr. Feely. So yes, I think this should happen. I will add some questions here that I have to it. I think timing is going to be important because it actually doesn't look like we have ever voted to actually have our committees. And so we'll have to go back and do that at our public meeting before this presentation can happen. But I do think that the comp plan is not clear. It's not clear to me before I started digging in. So I appreciate you taking this on and spearheading this for our community.
Check. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say about like the meeting we had in May was, strictly talking over general ideas about what might be done in terms of sharing the comp plan. And that's my role tonight, to come really to get the approval. And then the next meeting that we have, I mean, I don't have any issues with letting people know. It's like the cow, though. It's like a meeting.
Yeah, where it's not supposed to be the cow. It's actually in our bylaws. It's supposed to be public and recorded and minutes. So it's not supposed to be the cow. There's no development committee that is not supposed to be public.
I'm sorry. Oh, please let me clarify what I meant. I
Oh,
meant
okay.
actually that when the development committee got together to actually decide something, then I don't see any issue with letting people know to try to get input and things like that. But this was just to float this idea and get it to you all to see if it would move forward. Because what's the point of doing a lot of work on something that's not going to happen?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Could may I please get a question of clarification in real quick?
Sure.
Well, maybe two questions actually. I don't know if this is for Mr. Feely or not to answer, but I understand that you mentioned several stakeholders might be participating in this meeting.
It's just a thought.
Okay, did you have you considered inviting the council member? I'm not sure if you actually mentioned that or not.
I'm sure he would send a representative if he didn't come himself. His letter is so clear, I think, and helpful that he may feel that he wanted to be there. But I'm trying to. I'm thinking
We can
too.
discuss, I mean, that's a suggestion, and
That's
that's
a
something
suggestion,
as a committee we can discuss.
Okay, yeah, the
Publicly,
only reason
though. As a committee, you can
I
discuss publicly with everybody else invited, including the
Okay.
commissioner.
Commissioner Costello.
the only reason I ask is Commissioner Feely, you had said that the council member's letter seemed to be very helpful and offered a lot of clarity on his positions. I just thought it might be beneficial for him to be able to explain them or answer questions about them, since that's going to be part of the discussion.
Sure.
The
Well,
other,
I just say one of the things that he did in the letter that I was impressed with was that he actually had made some public statements and then he acted upon them in the amendments. And so it would be a very congratulatory meeting for him, I would think. Yeah.
Great. And the other question I had is, did we say that we wanted to do this on June 23rd, or would this be a separate special meeting?
We haven't said anything about it because I didn't know if it would happen or not.
Okay, understood. All right.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Commissioner Farley, I mean, if you wanted to offer something on that, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna see if Commissioner had anything to add, because, I know he said he was tired and I didn't want him to fall asleep.
No, yeah. Hey, Gail, Gail, you caught me when I was getting up and getting ready to go walk into the kitchen. That's where I am with all of this. Yeah, I can still hear you though. I just wouldn't be able to see you. That's all. No, I don't. I support it. Thus far, I don't think necessarily you need Councilmember McDuffie. I think his letter was clear. I think he's busy, and I also think that he would probably send a representative unless he's just doing another victory lap. So, but I mean, that's up to whether or not you want to invite Councilmember McDuffie to this. It seems to me that he's pretty much made his statement. So, but that's just my opinion on it.
Right. I mean, another thing that I think would be very useful, because if it hangs fire too long, it's kind of old news, is right. I think that the committee, once again, we could open this to other people, to anybody who wanted to come, but the committee could put together a fact sheet that could be distributed at the June meeting too. It doesn't have to actually be a public meeting or take up time from the June agenda, except just to explain that fellow citizens have gotten together, reviewed some of the documents that came out of the comp plan, and had that you all could review it and see if you think it's worth sharing, and then it could be shared at the June meeting that way as something that ANC 5B information on the comp plan.
Ursula Higgins is hosting, and so I will get her thoughts on that.
Okay. Thank you very much. If
you.
somebody has
Thank
any
you
more
very much
questions.
for.
Thank you for
telling
being
us.
very patient.
Thank you,
I-
Commissioner
I
Celia.
have-
really appreciate
And
your
sorry you
time.
had to sit through all of that again. I know you're part of not having to deal with this is not having to deal with this.
No, I mean, the thing about it
Thank you,
is,
Commissioner Philly.
yeah, I mean, I've sat through a number of 2-hour, 2.5-hour meetings, and you guys are public servants, and I wanted to have the opportunity to share this idea with you. So have a great rest of your meeting.
Hey, great.
Awesome. And
you
we'll
so
talk.
See you, Philly.
Okay, bye.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.
All right, Commissioner Higgins, I know you have to go, but if we can talk about the email communication with Sprint.
Give me 1 second because I'm in another meeting. Hold on 1 second, you guys.
You want to talk about the email thing? Oh, no, I'm getting off. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if you guys knew you guys weren't muted, but
No,
so it sounds
doesn't
like
matter if we were muted or not, but
okay.
I have
Sorry, Commissioner?
I'm muted now.
No one should be muted. I don't show anyone as muted.
Doesn't look like it.
hello. Okay, Commissioner
Yep, you're
Picaro.
there.
Okay,
Yes.
so my comment is I understand that it's a couple of things that you say, and we all entitled to our opinion and what we think. But I do want to just clarify 2 points. One, I'm not avoiding you or anybody else on this commission about anything. When I state that I want to look into something and review it and make sure that this is that, that's all it is. I don't have to hide anything. I'm not doing anything or covering up, as I heard stated, or any other issue. But let's get to the Sprint call real quick so you guys can ask all your questions. I know you have a pad full, but we're going to talk about the Sprint bill. Commissioner Carley had sent out an email stating that her phone was not working and that she needed to find out what was going on with her phone. Commissioner Carley engaged Sprint, and Sprint sent her a new phone. The phone that they sent Commissioner Carley, now mind you, that was a special that was listed on their site. And because that was back in February or March, I was not able to pull that information. I have reached out to Commissioner Carley and she said she would send the information, but we weren't able to obtain that actual advertisement. I had sent, I think I showed you what the special was, and I think
You did. I think it was the purple iPhone, right? Which wasn't out when Commissioner Carley originally.
Are
Okay.
you gonna let me finish? Please just let me finish.
Well, I'm just hoping that we can get to the part of the email
Yeah, we're gonna
correspondence. Like,
get
I
to
know
all
the
of it,
record.
but I would rather go through my timeline of
All
what.
right. As long as you have time to do that, that's great. If you have time to do that, I am happy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I put my other call on hold so I could do this because I'm on 2 meetings. So with that, it was not a purple phone that Commissioner Carley had received. It was a black phone. It was not a purple phone. But when I called, so I'd asked Commissioner Carley who she had spoken with. And it was just when you call in the Sprint, whoever you get, that's who you get. But this particular day, she had spoken to a young lady named Brittany. And when I had spoken to Commissioner Carley, I had asked her to find out from this young lady what the situation was. She sent an email stating that it was a mistake and that they would be sending a return packet back so she could return that phone. But initially, that was not what they had stated. So I had to speak to someone else because what they wanted us to do was they said, okay, you can send that phone back. But the issue was that we were still being charged. So with this particular phone, when she replaced the phone, it extended the contract for 2 years, as what happens with all of the phones that we purchase. And so what she had stated was that you have to keep an open contract for the 2 years, and that they were crediting the Sprint bill for the 3 charges that we were charged, and we sent that phone back. And they sent the actual free phone that Commissioner Carley should have been receiving, not the one that we were paying $800 and some for. So they sent an initial iPhone 12, and that was not the one that was for the special. It was the iPhone 11, in which there were no additional charges, and it would be the regular monthly payment. So that is the information that I have found even up till a day ago or 2 days ago, Commissioner Carley. I have been back and forth with Sprint. So they said when we received our new bill, that that bill should have all of the corrections on it and the expenses. Now, Commissioner Pereira had stated that she had went to PNC Bank and she had noticed that that deposit of the check had not been made. And this is clarification that Commissioner Amin has to get from Dawn, because initially we were not able to make deposits into our PNC account, or counter deposits or counter withdrawals. So,
well, you've been making the you mentioned that the check was dated for May 7th, but we cut checks on May 7th. So clearly we were able to take money out of the account. But are you saying that on May 7th we couldn't put money into the account?
No, we get allotments that are direct deposited into our account. But commissioners, and that's why I need clarity from OANC, because previously we were not able to go to the bank and put money directly into the bank. We weren't able to do that, or go to the counter to withdraw money. So that's something that the treasurer is going to have to verify. But also, while I was talking to Sprint, when they were telling me that an error did occur, that they were going to credit it, but we had not gotten any confirmation to that. So that's why I had to call back, because we still had not received a document stating that that credit would be applied back to the to our account. They said no, it would not be applied back to the bank, but it would be credited to our Sprint account. So that's why I called the meeting before our full body meeting, because that particular day was the day I had spoken to Ms. Brittany, and I wanted to get more information. But at that time, they still had not put in the information according to the gentleman that the credit was going back in. So I still had no paperwork. I still had, and Commissioner Carley, the special that she had saw, she could not locate that particular copy. She said she had some information she would forward it, but she wasn't able to locate it. So then I had to, in turn, go back. And the other thing that I wanted to speak to, when we were talking previously, it was stated that our Sprint account was charged $800 and some. That was not the case, but the bill did annotate that a device was purchased. So then the second thing was that it was signed in my name. When I talked to the representative stated that on the account, whoever receives the security code or has the security code, they don't necessarily sign anyone's name. It is already defaulted to Ursula Higgins. And I asked them who signed for the package. The package was not signed for. The package was delivered to the ANC, to the address, and they scanned that package to state that it was delivered. On that package, it did not have Ursula Higgins. The package had 5B01, which is the name or the title that Sprint had always had, because at that time, the chairperson was Commissioner Shirley Riven Smith, which was ANC 5B01. So that's how it was set up.
So there's a lot of things here. One, I will send you, and I'm happy to send it actually as we're on the phone. The package, I was gonna say, the package did come in Ursula Higgins' name, and it shows Ursula Higgins'
wait a minute. I'm just telling you what the representative told me on the phone. I didn't see the package, so I don't know what it says, but this is what the representative said. It had.
Well, can I say something to that?
Wait a minute, just let, yeah. And so what I had asked them to do, when they sent the actual device, I had it sent to me. And what it said was 5B01. It didn't have Ursula Higgins on it. But I did call to verify that information, but no one signed for my name. No one signed my name. Do you have a document statement?
I do have a document that says received by Ursula. So I will send this right now.
Wait a minute, could you do that to me, please?
I will send it to the whole commission right now. We are all on the phone, so everyone will get this in the next.
No, that's fine.
Ursula.
Go ahead. I just want to explain what Sprint said. I can't speak to anything else but what Sprint said to me.
Ursula.
So go ahead. You have the floor.
So here's what happened, and you can call Sprint and get the transcripts of this if you want to. But that phone was delivered on a Friday. On Monday, I called Sprint looking for that phone. They said it had been delivered. I said, I have not received that phone. They gave me the address where it was delivered. When I went to the office, that phone was outside that door. It was not, I don't know who put it in there or how it got there, but that phone somehow was delivered. And I called on a Monday looking for that phone, and they said they had already delivered it. I had not received that phone as of yet. And if you want to look and see the day they delivered it and the day I actually started using it, you can look at that. If you want to call Sprint and find out what day it was delivered and ask and see whether or not someone called in that Monday to find out what happened to that phone, I'm sure you can do that as well.
Well, but there's a couple of people. One, just to start with, Commissioner Higgins, you mentioned at the public meeting that all of this happened over email and that you would be sending your colleagues the email correspondence. Can you please send that?
I thought I did. So let me forward. Wait a minute. Just let me forward Brittany's email to you now.
I'm sorry. I just want to be clear. You thought you sent that to me today when you said no.
No, I did not send that to you today. This is from before.
Okay.
This is from before. This is not. This was from.
Can I just, while we're looking for that, ask a clarifying question?
No, it's right here. Go ahead.
My internet cut out, and I'm not sure if I missed something. So there was an error with the purchase, or how did the mistake get made? That's what I wasn't clear on.
I guess fundamentally, Commissioner Carly, did you buy the phone online or did you buy the phone through a representative? Let's start there.
You didn't buy the phone.
Well, okay. Did you make the order online or did you make the order through a representative?
Both.
Well, no. One or the other. Did you?
No,
you can't really do both.
You know how? Did you? Why are you asking me a question you already know?
Okay, so it's over. You did it online.
So you do.
So someone couldn't have sent you the wrong phone if you did it online. That's where I'm trying to get to.
It was because it was supposed to have been a special, and I did not receive the special.
And so, sorry, just to be clear, the special you were trying to get was what?
Whatever was on special in March. That's what I assumed I was getting because that's why I did the 2-year contract.
Okay, but you also realize you can't sign onto a 2-year contract. Like that has to be voted on by the commission. Just because you thought you were getting $0.
You know what?
A 2-year contract is still locking you in.
You go ahead and do it, okay?
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know if I got an answer to my question. I'm asking in earnest because I really heard part of the beginning because my internet keeps cutting out. So I'm just, can you clarify for me, somebody? Go
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Can you just clarify again?
Somebody? Oh my God.
I think Commissioner Carly left again.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't tell. Yeah, Commissioner Higgins, would you mind just clarifying for me so I can understand this and follow the train of discussion?
No, I was giving you my portion because that's what you asked for, my
Yeah.
portion.
I think I
And-
missed part at the beginning because my internet keeps cutting out and
Yeah, so I can only report what I have found out
okay.
From Sprint and the communication that the representative sent me. And from that point, then I started speaking with them. And two things took place. One, the representative stated that the security codes, which I was not receiving, was going to ANC 5B03, and which made sense because that is the ANC email address that Commissioner, the Treasurer, McKimbey, was utilizing.
Yeah.
So, and what she said that was anybody that received the security code would be able to transact business. It doesn't matter. And it would show Ursula Higgins.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Okay.
So I said, well, okay, well, we need to change that. I said, because everybody couldn't be able to call in and just make changes.
Yeah.
So what she did was she said, well, that's fine. That's understandable. I'm trying to find this thing for you. God, no, I just want to sign. No, I want to sign this. Find this email from Brittany because it was really short, but I told her I needed to see that because I needed some clarification as to what took place, how it took place, and why it took place. And so she was giving me a rundown. I'm sorry. She sent me that email in terms of, okay, this was an error. We're correcting it. And then I still didn't get any more information. So at that time, I decided to call a representative. Yeah, it was forwarded on 5/26 at 6:28. Okay, so let me send this again.
Okay.
Forward. And she just said, and that was her statement. So I told them we need to avoid that because you don't know who's doing what and how.
Right. Yeah.
And so what she said was, okay, we'll correct that now. And we'll take all of the other contact out and we'll just have it this way. So if anybody else needs to do anything, then they can. But the security code would come from you and you would be abreast of or aware of what has taken place.
Okay.
So I just sent the email to all of you.
Okay, thank you. And when you say you don't mean me. It shouldn't come to me.
No, I'm repeating what
she said to
the
you.
conversation was with the representative from Sprint.
Oh,
And she was speaking in reference to you as in me while we were just.
Got it. Okay.
So, but I'm a little concerned because this email suggests that we are responsible, not suggests, it states we are responsible for leaving the line open for 2 years. We never took a vote to agree to a 2-year contract. All contracts have to be agreed upon by the commission in a public vote.
Okay, so I'll take that. But when we voted the last time to have cell phones, that we did vote on that, but we did not vote for this current year, this fiscal year.
All of our phones are out of contract. So this would be re-upping the commission for a contract that none of us agreed to.
For the other 2 years. Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
That's
and
correct.
so that's kind of, again, my emails from a week ago was saying, panic. We did not, please confirm that we did not sign on to a 2-year contract.
No, I get it, but we did not sign on to a 2-year contract. When that phone was ordered, it automatically signed us on to a 2-year contract.
But in the act of ordering it, Commissioner Carley signed us on to, and that's where, and I can send it to you in addition to the UPS.
You don't have to send it to me. I'm agreeing that no, the commission did not vote. No, I did not know it was a 2-year contract until after I had gotten the email, which was on the 26th of May.
I appreciate, but Commissioner, with all due respect, and I do respect you as the chair, I know you are trying to you are trying to moderate what is a very contentious group. And so I do, more than I'm sure you can appreciate, I do appreciate how much effort you're putting into this. But even this on the 26th saying, being closed, we've ordered the iPhone 11, you'll be responsible for leaving the line open for 2 years. Like, frankly, is absurd. We have 2 phones that are sitting there unused. And let's say Commissioner Carley on March 3rd did not remember that we had that. Certainly by now, Commissioner Carley knows that we have 2 phones that are not being used at all. To go and lock us into another 2-year contract for an iPhone 11 is beyond irresponsible. And frankly, unlawful because we haven't voted on it. This is all of Commission's funds that are being spent on it, and we are all out of contract. Ra's phone is cracked. Like, we don't use our phone. Like, everyone is kind of making do with the bare minimum. And now Commissioner Carley has an iPhone 11, which is just, frankly, and I hope you can appreciate this, not a great use of funds when there were $100 phones available. Like, this is kind of where we come back to at the beginning. The issue wasn't Commissioner Carley getting a phone. I'm not opposed to Commissioner Carley getting a phone. I'm fully supportive of that. We have 2 to give her. The issue is, do we as commissioners require an iPhone 11 when Commissioner Amin is walking around with a cracked phone from 2 years ago? Like, no.
Yeah,
and this is not being good stewards of our money.
I am too. And I understand what you are saying. And again, 2 things. No, we did not vote to extend the contract. No, we didn't. And we will not be paying any additional monies. And these phones are still under contract. They are not. The phones that were paid off, as I had found out, were not those phones. The phones that were paid off were the phones that we had before the J3s.
No, I can print this off right now. None of our phones are under contract outside of Commissioner Carley. If all of us wanted to cancel our phones tomorrow, we could without penalty.
Okay, so that's because we have done the 2 years. That's true.
Yes,
because
we have already paid off these phones. We have nothing that we owe Sprint or T-Mobile or whoever it is. Commissioner Carley getting a brand new phone re-ups that contract for just her. It doesn't re-up it for the rest of us, but it does lock us into a contract that we never agreed upon, and that frankly didn't need to happen, because if Commissioner Carley had used one of the phones that we already had and that were not used, she would also not be locked into a contract. So
okay.
she's committed commission funds without approval.
Okay.
Can I?
So what is your suggestion?
I mean, that not happen. And if Commissioner Carley has entered into, I understand it sounds like maybe she didn't sign on your behalf, but she signed on her own, then that's an agreement that she entered into personally without the approval of the commission.
Yeah, so I'm saying, so your suggestion?
Well, my suggestion, as it was a few months ago, was that she return the phone that she had, and we could either sell it or trade it back, and she uses one of the phones that the commission already owns and would cost $0 and not re-up a contract.
So, but the thing is, the issue is with that is, once we receive that phone, the initial one, even though we sent it back, and we will not be charged that additional $33 a month for that device, we still have that 2-year contract.
But that's the part that I'm saying is unlawful. And the 2-year contract, sorry.
So what is your suggestion now? Even if, say for instance, even if we sent that phone back, we're still locked into that 2-year contract.
Well, can I maybe offer an idea? First, let me just say, it's still not clear to me how there was a mistake with the purchase. I don't think we ever got to that part of.
I don't know. Only thing I have is the information that I just sent you. I can only report out the information that I received.
Okay,
and that's why I call, because I want to hear from myself what was said. That's the only thing I can go by, is what she had explained to me.
Okay.
So, and then I asked for it in writing.
Yep.
And this is the note that she sent me. Good afternoon. Today we have closed the IB of the Samsung ordered by mistake, being billed for $33.33 monthly for 24 months. Since being closed, we have ordered the iPhone for $0. You will be responsible for leaving the line open for 2 years, but you now own the device.
Okay.
So ANC owns the device.
After 2
And-
years.
Huh?
After, yeah, after 2 years, which is 24 months. Which
That's
is,
what I just said. The line would be
No,
open
no,
for 2 years,
know.
but you now own the device.
yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
we would, after 2 years.
Excuse me 1 second, because I'm sorry. Excuse me 1 second. Commissioner Higgins. Yes, ma'am. They got, we're on Taft Playground. Okay, I'm on my way around. I'm on my way around. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, shucks. Ladies, real quick, go ahead, ask your questions. We just had a shooting. And they are sprawled out in the alley on the side of the playground.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
Jesus. But no, go ahead and ask your questions because I'm gathering my stuff now. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the 2-year contract cost the commission $1,200 when the iPhone 11 is not worth that. So we own, as you said, like we get to own the phone, but we own the phone that is not worth $1,200.
Okay, so
It's now $649. So we're actually paying more than we should for that asset.
So what are your suggestions?
My suggestions. Sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Costello.
yeah, I was just going to say that since the commission didn't approve the contract, I don't think it's the commission's problem. I think it might be Commissioner Carley's problem. So
I don't disagree with that. It's very clear in our bylaws that everything needs to be approved. It wasn't approved. And I hate that had to be the case, but unfortunately we didn't agree to it. So she is personally responsible, or
we can, yeah. I mean, maybe we should.
Can we vote on it? Can we do a vote on it, whether or not we can have the phone? She can have the phone.
The contract was already signed, so
right. But but legally, bylaw wise, and all of that stuff, can we take a vote whether or not ANC 5B will accept this 2-year contract for the phone?
I think
Can be done?
I think that's something we might need to research. I'm not sure what like the ANC statute says, or I'm sure our bylaws don't say anything about this, but I can check. But I think we might need to look into this, Ra.
Because I think the only other thing is those who signed the the security fund, like that's where it ends up. So if it's not on Commissioner, if we as a commission say we didn't approve it, then it's not an authorized expense, then commissioners could be potentially liable. But I think we need to look it up and maybe ask Gottlieb.
I think let's just look it up. I think that we're at this point, as you said earlier, Preeta, this group is so contentious. A $1,200 iPhone is not. If we can vote on this, like Ursula said, say what you want to do. I mean, if you can't come up and say what you want to do, I say let's go in and we've discussed this every which way that we could discuss it. Let's take a vote, whether or not, just like we could take a vote on everything else.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, but that's where, Commissioner, you and I talked about this. That's where I wanted to take the vote publicly before. And it was a lot of like, wait until the cow because we'll discuss it and resolve it. And I don't want to say I told you so, but Commissioner,
no, that's not the same thing. What we're talking about is that we were trying to avoid having, by the time we got to a public discussion, we wanted to be able to talk about the facts, not the community. My constituents, and I'm sure yours as well, they were no longer interested in us having this long conversation. to be honest with you, not many people care about that cell phone. I mean, you
I
keep
got a
saying that
lot of
you're
messages about the cell phone.
and guess what? And I got a lot, and I probably got just as
I'm
many
sure.
as you have that said that
Same.
they don't. That
Yeah,
they don't
that's
care about it. Move on. Get to my constituents want me taking care of their business. They could care less about this phone at this point. So I'm saying that we have to decide what we want to do now. Do we want to? You guys seem like so one reason or another. You seem like you want to sanction Carly. If
No,
that's
no,
what you
I've
want
never,
to do,
and I've still never said, I've never
if
said
that's what you
sanction.
if that's what you want to do,
Rob,
then,
No.
then do
Rob,
it. Then
Rob.
go ahead, move forward and do it. Other than that,
I've
we
never
vote on it.
suggested, I've never, outside of repeating what Gottlieb said, I've never suggested sanctioning.
Yeah, please don't put words in my mouth
yeah.
either. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
no,
saying.
Yeah, well,
never,
you know what?
never said that. And
You
we
know
can go
what?
back to,
Your action speaks louder than words, Costello and Piquera. So
Well,
I'm saying, so I'm asking you, as your
Yeah.
colleague at this point, that find out whether or not we can vote on this. If we can vote on it, let's just vote on it.
okay,
If we cannot vote on it, then come out before to say what you want to do about it.
Okay, no. I think so. So your suggestion is we should not have Commissioner Carly be responsible for the expense on her own, even though she incurred it on her own. You want to put it to a public vote. We can do that. We can do it at the June meeting. We can take a public vote. You obviously have the majority. We can pass it and no harm, no foul. That's fine. But I just want it to be clear because it seems like there's this like back and forth that the iPhone that she was talking about wasn't even released in March 5th because I'm a crazy iPhone person, so I know this. And that she ordered it online, so there wasn't a customer service representative that misplaced an order. And subsequently, the promotion that she says she saw, I've not been allowed to see. But the only one that exists is the one that locks us into a contract. Like none of this is like, and Commissioner, I mean, like I get that we are quote unquote fighting right now, right? Like we are sibling rivalry and angry at each other, but like you agreed with me on this. Like you and I have had lots of conversations about this. You said yourself, you've got a cracked phone. You're not going out and spending tons of money on the commission money or commission dollars to replace it with some fancy phone. Like on its face, this is not great, but sure. Yes. Let's put it on a vote. And if that's something that everyone is like, yes, we can vote on it.
And I did say that initially, but after information keeps coming in, you get to a point where you have to make a decision. You make a decision for the community.
Give me 1 second, Rob. I'm getting ready to go down here and talk to the police. So I'm gonna turn you guys down so I can go and talk to the police. Okay.
Okay, Ursula.
I'm gonna turn you down. I'm still here, but I just can't.
Do you need me to come over?
No, MPD is here right now. So
I understand. You still might need me.
Wait a minute, hold on, Commissioner.
No, I'm messing with you. Yeah.
I'm Commissioner Higgins, and
what I'm saying, Prita, is that the information is in. Whether Commissioner Carly was 100% intentional or whether she honestly made some mistakes, it's instead of us going back and forth, we need to make some decisions what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You know,
I just want to click. Sorry.
Wait a minute, Prita. At this point, I'm willing to say that you know what, maybe she did misunderstand the ad. Maybe if we get locked into a 2-year contract, so be it. If she's here 2 years from now, if we're all here 2 years from now, good. If we're not here 2 years from now, the new commission will be able to vote to end that contract.
Well, they can't because it's a contract.
They can pay to end the contract.
So they're beholden to whatever we decide. If we decide to sign $1,000 a month lease, we hand it off to a next commission, like they're just
exactly. Just like we're beholden to what happened before us, the way this was set up, until we straighten it out and that's the way that it is. This is politics.
Can I just say real quick? So it's still not clear to me how the mistake was made. And Ra, I don't know if you have any more insight into that. I know Ursula shared what she knows. Can you help me?
All I know, Colleen, is what Ursula said and what Gail said. Gail said that she went online and she looked and she thought the phone was a part of a deal, but come to find out that Sprint made a mistake and she misunderstood the type of phone that she was getting or she was supposed to get. So
I'm sorry.
I don't know whether that was true or not, but I believe her at this point. I say, so be it. Like, she has a phone. It was underneath her agreement. The 2-year contract is not the worst thing in the world for ANC 5B. We will continue to pay on it, and let's just move on.
But do we need to keep paying on it? Like, if we have a free option that we are all out of contract and we've just decided to lock ourselves into not free.
But here's the thing. We can vote on that. Like, again, I don't think you're going to win because I think you have 3 commissioners that say that they want to keep their phones.
Oh, sorry. Ra, when you and I talked before, you said that now that they could port numbers, you didn't want to keep your phone. So my apologies. I thought you were
and you know what?
Google
and let me say this. I have Google Voice. I prefer, and you other thing, Colleen and Preeta, you have to understand this is very generational, it's very cultural, it's very ageism, and it's starting to be racism and classism at this point.
Wow.
Yes, it's true. It is. And
I'm sorry. How can you explain the racism piece? Only because I don't know if you know this, Ra. I'm not white.
Colleen, I figured by your last name you may not be white, but culturally you might be identifying as white.
No, that was me. That was Preeta. Like
the
very
Preeta,
brown. That was the very brown Indian woman.
You and I already had a conversation about you not being white, but the point being is that your husband's white and probably culturally you identify as white, but that's not my judgment to make.
I do not identify as white. If you look at my Twitter, I am all South Asian all the time.
Okay, well,
hello.
My daughter speaks
Everybody can hear you guys. And I don't think we should be discussing ethnicity and all of that stuff, but we need to stay on point.
I do not identify as white. I just want to be very clear.
No, I just think we need to stay on point. I'm so sorry. We out here and everybody can hear you guys.
Right.
So,
well, I think she's talking about the why do I think it's the racism piece? It's the agenda. It starts to be racism, in my opinion, because we're not taking into account that we're a diverse community and that some people want to be able to pick up this phone and call their commissioner. And you know what? And quite frankly, let me tell you something, Preeta.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. I'm out here because I was trying to have a meeting with you guys. Do you have any other questions for me? We have one victim.
I have lots, but I'll email you and hopefully you will respond to them over email.
Say that again.
I said I have lots, but I'll email you and hopefully you can respond.
What are they? No, what are they? I mean, I just gave you my perspective and what I have heard.
So it's the signatures on the resolutions.
That's already been sent. It should be in your email.
I have not received. I can.
You should have something from Hello Sign. You should have something from Hello Sign.
It says it's in signature in progress, but I don't have any others from.
It should be there because it sent me the copy back and that it was sent to you.
Is this for both the 17th Street and the ANC 5B Safe Street?
It should be both. It should be both.
If you're able to resend at your earliest convenience, that would be great because I do not have.
Yeah, I'll send it as soon as I get back in the house. And what's your other question?
I just more clarity. So you held up a sign on the you held up an advertisement on the last public meeting.
That was an advertisement, yes, that I could find, which was similar to what she said that
Can
she
you
had
please-
gotten.
yeah,
And as I stated previously, when I called, they said that was not the special that they had posted from March.
So you
And I
said
asked,
that
could I
Commissioner
receive
Carly
that?
was
Wait a minute. So when I received that, and I said, well, are the specials the same? She said, yes, for the iPhone 11. And this was what we told her, and it would be free of charge. But she did not tell me that with sending that device back that they had sent, that we would still be connected into a 2-year agreement until I had spoken to somebody on the line. And she said with the activation of that other line, it automatically kicked in the 2-year agreement. I asked, could that be taken back? She said no, but she said we would automatically get a credit, that they would not send us a credit, but they would credit the Sprint bill for the not $33 payments or billings that they had sent us.
Can you, because you mentioned on the call that there was multiple email correspondence. If there was anything in addition to the one that you sent on the 26th, can you please share that? Because
and then I
will just
stated
say
that Commissioner Carly said that she could not find that information because she said she had email interactions with them, but she did not
please
send
forward
them.
the
And
email
when I
then.
stated on the line, when I stated on the email, it will be forthcoming. Commissioner Carly said she would send me the documents. She was unable to send me those documents. And then in turn, that's why I had to start calling Sprint and speak to them to get some clarity of my own. That's what I had stated earlier when we were talking.
But did you, sorry, I'm sorry, did you say that Commissioner Carly had email interactions with Sprint and you, because that's what I'm saying. We've only seen one email, but it sounds like there's multiple.
I had one email. I had one email interaction when I asked Commissioner Carly to forward me the additional information. She did not have it to forward to me. So therefore, I could not forward, and I had to call myself and ask the lady to send me something
Commissioner
stating.
Higgins, can I ask why you didn't just say that over email? Like every time I asked you for this email, you said, well,
over email back and forth. I didn't feel like it. It was just too much.
You could have just forwarded this one piece and we be done, and you're not out at a crime scene.
Everything that they could give me. And of course, that was the only piece of information that they could give me. Everything else that was handled by phone with me. That's the only way I could get the information that I had. And the last piece of information I got with the credits and stuff was either yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
So I can only give you what I have. And if she told me that she had the paperwork to provide me, then that's the information I shared with her, with you guys. I can only share what I have.
Did you see the UPS confirmation that I shared with you that showed it was received by Ursula?
I saw that you had sent it, but I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
But you said you sent it, and I saw something from you. Actually, I saw 2 emails from you, but I haven't opened them up.
Yes, I sent it to everybody. I sent the Sprint package and I sent the contract.
But just like I said, only thing I can go by is what the lady sent me and what the representative said to me on the phone as late as yesterday in terms of, what had taken place. But other than that, I have not received. They said that the information had a security code and that the security code was provided by ANC 5B03.
Remember, because we replied all. So that was, she asked.
Commissioner Pereira, I'm just telling you what the representative said to me. That's
I know,
the only
but
thing
Commissioner Higgins, this is all stuff we already knew. We already knew that she was accessing
the only thing I can give you. That's the only thing I can give you. I don't know what else you want.
Did you know that she was going to buy that phone and
I know that she was going to get the phone. I already told you that.
Okay, so then
I found out when Ross said the same thing to all of us as a group.
So then I guess I'm confused as to why we are in this place of frankly, I'm going to be speaking just very plainly. It feels like you're trying to protect her in this situation.
I'm not protecting anybody. I'm not covering up for anybody. All I'm doing is trying to fact find and see what took place. And that's the only information that I can share with you is what I have found out and what was stated. I'm not covering for anybody. We're all adults. Nobody needs anybody to cover for them, protect them, or anything else.
And let me say this, and Commissioner Pereira, it feels like that you're trying to attack her. If it feels like the Commissioner Higgins is trying to protect Commissioner Carly, the feeling that I'm receiving now is that you're trying to attack her and discredit her. And so
I'm not trying to discredit her. I'm trying to say that spending $833 of commission funds is not okay.
She did not spend, again, she did not spend $833. The invoice said that it is an $833 equipment charge. It's been 2, maybe 3 now, $33 charges. So stop saying that she spent $833 and stop saying that she spent $1,000 because you're playing on words in public.
Okay, let me ask you this, just flat out, you're a treasurer, you get it, okay? Commissioner, according to this email that Commissioner Higgins sent to everybody, we've ordered an iPhone 4G for $0, and we're responsible for leaving the line open for 2 years. What does that come out to from a monetary standpoint?
What does it come out for us paying our phone bill for 2 years? Because it's not like we're giving up our lines either. Everybody's going to
the option to, and
$3,856.
Does that mean that we're not going to have commissioners after these 2 years?
No, I was hoping we could have a conversation about whether there were free or lower cost phones, since Commissioner Costello and I are on free phones.
Let's vote on it. Let's just vote on it, Commissioner.
Phone is free too.
We can't vote on it, but
free too.
Commissioner, I mean, you're saying vote on it, and I agree, but the vote should come before Commissioner Carly signs onto a contract.
We already agreed on that, Commissioner Pereira. That's why I said, so what is our end game now? We can't change what's already happened. So what would you like to see happen now?
We should do a public vote on if everyone agrees on this expense. If everyone agrees on this expense and on the line items in the budget, I guess. You guys have the majority, you can spend how you want. I think that this is, I will keep going and saying, I think this is wildly irresponsible and a very poor management of our constituents' money. But if you all feel that an iPhone 11 for an ANC officer makes sense, then okay. You guys have the majority.
And I think you're playing on words because that's not what any of us said.
Well, can I just add?
No, we need to just call it what it is. We were charged $99 thus far towards an $800 and some phone.
Yeah.
That $99 will be credited back to our account. And she has a phone which we will not pay equipment cost at all. But there will be a 2-year contract, as it will be for the rest of us, because we're going to continue to have phone.
We're not on contract. If Commissioner Carly stops
we're not on
tomorrow,
contract. The only difference is if we decided we didn't want to have phones anymore, then we would not have any payments to pay.
Not for Commissioner Carly.
For the 4 phones. I said for the other 4 phones, if we decided we did not want to have a cell phone, then we would have nothing to pay. But 5B01 for that 905 number decided, okay, we don't want to have this phone anymore. Then we will be penalized with the charge for breaking the contract early.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So there is a monetary dollar amount.
It's a monetary, yes. It is a monetary value. It is a monetary expense associated with it if we stop with the contract for that phone. If we do not stop the contract with the phone, there is no monetary penalty.
But we never agreed to continue with the contract.
I agree with that. I stated that earlier.
There is a monetary penalty.
We did not.
Commissioner Costello, you were going to say something and I keep talking over you. I'm sorry. Commissioner Costello, go ahead.
Okay. So I think we already hit on the point that I was going to make, which is just that this is an obligation for a possible future expense if we decide to break the contract. Considering that it's 2 years out, that would bring us to 2023. We don't know what the future is going to hold, either for us as commissioners and elected officials, or for ANC 5B, considering that we're facing redistricting in 2022. So this is an obligation that somebody will have to deal with in 2 years, which is the point that I wanted to make. And, I do agree that it's something that the commission absolutely should have voted on before we entered into the agreement. That's all. But as we discussed previously, we can look into what the next steps are, if any, to try and address it. I'm not sure what the legal landscape looks like, but we can try to figure that out. I will just say real quick, Commissioner Amin, I really, really, really don't appreciate the disrespectful way in which you addressed Commissioner Piquera and I just want to put that on the record. I don't think that was professional. I don't think that does anything to engender goodwill with your colleagues. And frankly, at the bottom of all of that, you're just plain wrong. This has nothing to do with race. This has everything to do with fiscal responsibility and good governance, period.
And that's your opinion, Commissioner, and I can respect that. Commissioner Costello.
Okay, so back to my original question. We've already made it clear that an extended contract was made on the plan. We've also stated that a vote was not taken for the extension of the plan or the purchase of the phone. So again, my question again is, what do we do from this point? What would you like to see take place? What is the solution?
Well, I think we clarified that we need to figure out what the legal options are, I guess, in terms of the contract and whether the contract is binding on the commission or not. So let's just start with that. I'm sorry?
It is binding that's what I stated, that they said we do have to carry it. So that means that it will be carried. Hold on. Good night, Donna. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'll call you. Okay.
And for the record, Costello, I think you've been very disrespectful from your choice of words to how you address your fellow commissioners, to how you treated Commissioner Carly, to how you behaved on Twitter. So if we're talking about people's behaviors, I feel like you're the one that's being very disrespectful.
Thank you.
I'm going to unmute myself here. This is ridiculous.
Okay, can we? Okay.
You're entitled to your opinion. I feel that, but you know what? I feel like you're disrespectful. I think that you've been disrespectful to Carly. I feel like you've been disrespectful.
You can't take disrespect as us asking for us to be like actually in line with the law.
We're not going back.
That's not disrespect.
We're not going back and forth with that. You said what you wanted to say. You said what you wanted to say.
Or
you said what I wanted to say. You said what you wanted to say, and I said what I wanted to say.
Commissioner,
you said what you wanted to say, and I said what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Well, then
Seat, please.
I'm trying to get a resolution because I do need to go.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's all I'm trying to do is just to figure out where we are. We already know what is taking place.
We can do it in the public setting. Just vote to approve it so it's effective on our minutes. I think that's the best place for us to go. If it passes, then Commissioner Carly gets an iPhone 11. And if it doesn't pass, then Commissioner Carly is personally responsible for an iPhone 11. I think, and Commissioner Costello, from a parliamentarian standpoint, tell me if I'm misunderstanding that, but I think that's where we end up.
Okay, and this is the other thing. I know that we all are very passionate about the things that we discuss, passionate about the way business should be run, which is great. But I do want to say, when we are in our public meetings, this tends to just go totally left. And I just think that's not cool. I don't think it's cool for the public, and that we all need to do better, because it gets to be very draining. We understand what's going on. We can discuss what's going on, but I've always stated, when we're in our public meetings, we need to conduct ourselves better. So if this is something that we need to continue to talk about, then we need to continue to talk about it. But trying to embarrass people, try to keep people, I mean, it's just not cool. And it doesn't just reflect on one person that's being bashed or the basher. It actually reflects on the whole commission. So if it's something that we need to get out the way, let's get it out the way. Let's work on it, determine how we want to deal with it, and deal with it.
I mean,
Because this is going on
I
so
agree.
long.
Everything you say, I agree, but then it's
Everybody's
counterproductive.
I understand everybody's point, and I understand that something needs to be done. My question is, what do we want to do?
I guess
'Cause
my
we
more
sit talking
generally.
about a whole bunch of other stuff.
No, but the point is, like,
Wait a
we
minute,
try to
wait
have
a minute,
some of
wait a
these
minute, wait a minute.
conversations. We try to have some of these conversations over email, and the response is wait till cow, and then we get to cow, and it's like, oh, we don't have to do this.
Sometimes doing email,
And
it's
then
just too
and
much
then it's
going back.
don't.
Wait a minute, hold on. The detective is here. I gotta go, you guys. The detective is here. How you doing, sir?
All right,
All right.
we can end the
Yeah.
meeting.
And then-
That's
Commissioners,
fine.
commissioners, I have to go as well.
Uh-huh.
Enjoy your evening. Commissioner Paquera, can you post my meeting or do you need something else from me?